At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another edition of Between the Headlines on Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jah, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In tonight's edition of Between the Headlines, we are fortunate to have with us some former panelists of the Spoon Talk, a very popular Liberian diaspora television program that highlights some pressing issues in our country. And in tonight's edition, we're going to discuss with them their reason for quitting Spoon Talk and what are their next steps. With me to do this, I have my co-host, the one who many believe is the political bulldog, Mr. Anthony Nambwe-Sia. Anthony, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dennis. I'm happy to be here looking at gentlemen who and us have been in this business. Familiar faces, by the way. Gentlemen, I want to take the time to say welcome and thanks for agreeing to do this, to say, hey, I think we owe it to the Liberian people to explain to them what happened, given that they have been listening to us. I think there's something commendable. I just want to emphasize that. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. Let me first welcome. This is not being partial here, but a fellow guy from Monrovia College, Mr. Dr. Henry Peabody. Mr. Peabody, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dennis. It's really good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I also, Mr. Peabody is a former panelist on Spoon Talk. I also want to welcome a guy born and raised in Firestone, who is also a former member here, is Tomalin George. Mr. George, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Jah. Thank you very much.
I also want to welcome Mr. Ben Sanvee, probably his third or fourth time on Focus on Liberia. Ben, welcome back home.
Thank you. It's good to be here. You are right. This is home turf. I know I haven't been here in such a long time, but still a strong and a very consistent admirer of the platform. But thank you. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much. Last and definitely not the least, a couple of years ago, very regular caller on the show here. That's Mr. Keff Hassan. Keff, welcome to the show. I mean, nice haircut.
Thank you, Mr. Jah. Nice to be here again.
Again, we want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. We want to say welcome to the show. Let me start by going around the room to our colleagues here to give just a brief intro on something happened, right? Something happened. They've been with Spoon TV, and for some time now, the CEO of Spoon was indicted for some charges here. And tonight's discussion is not to go into the merits of the indictment. We're going to concentrate on their role, what they did at Spoon, why they left, and what their next steps will be. And we have some video clips that we could also play. But let me start by, guys, to just tell me a little bit about how you got involved with Spoon TV. What was your role on Spoon, what you did? We saw you on TV. It's a very difficult job to keep doing what you did Mondays through Fridays and sometimes through Sundays. And undoubtedly, Spoon became one of the top platform here. So let me start with you, Mr. Keff Hassan. Tell me a little bit how you got started with Spoon, and what was your role? What did you do?
Thank you, Mr. Jah. I started with Spoon 3 years ago. We started with during the COVID by helping the Liberian people and then we started with God can bless anybody, to help our people during the COVID, but then it turned into a political discussion to move Liberia forward. So I started with Reverend Peabody, and then we with not a doctor, a Reverend Martin. So from there, the other guys then came out, and then the spoon went into different direction that we were not expecting. So we become a household name in Liberia now because of what we do. But it was 3 years ago, and then I love every moment what we did to bring the truth to the Liberian people.
Thank you so much for such extraordinary work. Let me go to Mr. George. Mr. George, in addition to you starting, what really we saw you on TV, was that all you did or you were something else? I want you to add that to see your work at Spoon.
Good evening, Mr. Ja. Good evening, Mr. Sear, and the rest of my colleagues and our fellow Liberians in radio and TV land. I've been involved in Liberian politics since our school days, and came to the USA. And in fact, I think if you guys were in Liberia when Ben became the National Youth Advisor, I was at that program when under the banner of the Liberian National Student Union, and we just been interested in Liberian politics. So came to the States, and that the Peabody, in fact, prior to that, Stanton kept inviting me to join the panel. And then I kept putting it off until Peabody met me and told me, said, man, look, come, man, come. I like you write. I like how you write, and I think you'll be a great part of this process. Come. So I came on, and in 2020, I joined the Spoon Talk, and we just developed a great platform and very good culture, and we became a household name in the Liberian body politics and on the social media and so forth. And we enjoy it, and we always cherish our members there and so forth. But as time evolves, we had to part ways for our own national, of our own future and so forth. So that's where we are today, and we are here to explain to Liberian people why we took such a decision, and so hope to hear our side of the story, and they can be the judge.
Thank you, Mr. Sanvee.
Thank you. It's good to be here. The question was, when did we join Spoon, right?
Yeah, how, and what was your role?
Actually, very interesting story. The current vice president, I think Stanton wanted to interview the vice president, and he had reached out to Henry Costa, and Henry Costa told him, the only person that I know that can, reach out to the vice president is Ben, who has a close relationship with her. And so Costa reached out to me, and I said I had not really heard about Spoon. I knew they were doing some stuff, what Keff alluded to, the issue of the COVID. I know they were doing some good stuff there with Reverend Martin and the other folks. And so we had a chance to briefly chat. Stanton reached out. We had a chance to briefly chat. And I said, oh, okay, because the VP had reached out to me and said, well, do you know these people? Because I know you know everybody. So do you think it may be a good thing? I was like, yeah, it's good. Go there, have a chance to have a brief chat with them, and let's see what happens. That's how me and CEO got in touch. And then after that interview, I don't think he knew about me. But I think after the interview, I think someone, Costa maybe told him something, and then he reached out to me and said, my man, you seem to have a very interesting story. I never knew. So I think you will. He said, we have this show now, the Oman King on the show. I think you should come and visit once in a while and share your thoughts and on Liberian politics. Because at that time, Dennis, I was on. I think I actually broke my silence on focus on Liberia.
Yeah.
I had taken a sabbatical from politics, and then I started visiting. And then it became, hey, I think this is something we can continue to do. I shared some ideas with him, and like Tomalin said, the rest of the crew started to join, and the rest is history. And we became the folks that people, I like to say famously love to hate, right? But it is all part of the game, and it's been an exciting ride.
Right.
But it's been a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, good time indeed. All of us, we all watched Spoon. I mean, it blew up in our eyes, what Spoon was able to accomplish with you guys putting in work day in, day out. Dr. Peabody, what's your story?
Well, it's interesting. Once again, it's good to see you guys, see you, Dennis, and my former senior in Mervyn College. Good to see you, Mr. C, as well. But actually, I became, Stanton and I have known each other for many years. In fact, we were members of Reverend Martin's church. Reverend Martin was our pastor, Reverend C. Levi Martin. And we went to that church until we took our other engagement in different places. And then Stanton, Reverend Martin has shared with me that Stanton was opening a radio station. He and the giant Ashford Galley, they all went to Liberia and started Spoon, and they came back. And there was this program that called God Can Bless Anybody. And Stanton loved that program. And then, during the COVID, sitting home doing nothing, one day he invited me and said, hey, can you join us and ask some Bible question here? And we joined every Sunday. We used that program as well to help a lot of people in need. There were thousands of dollars we raised helping people.
And you're a pastor, right? That's what.
Yes, I am a ordained minister. I'm not actively preaching now.
About it.
I'm into another ministry now. I'm into humanitarian work, nonprofit. I work with Mission International, where I travel back and forth in Liberia, building clean water, schools, and all of that. In fact, I'm on my way back again next month. But he called me, and I got on that show, and the politics was very interesting. So, after we did it for a while, and then we branched out into politics, interviewing people. It was very interesting learning the Liberian politics and learning the Liberian people. So it's been a good route prior to my departure. It's been a very good route.
Thank you. And before I switch it over to my friend Anthony, I want to ask you a blunt question that's on everybody's mind. Were you guys into any contract agreement, and were you getting paid to be on Spoon Talk?
So let me I will take it. First of all, again, thank you.
Awesome benefits, awesome incentives.
Of course.
I don't want to say pay.
So I will say it's when we first started. In fact, when Stanton reached out, and I'll speak for myself, but I know it goes for the other guys also. I know when he reached out to me, the first thing he said to me was, he said, you know what, let's join the conversation and blah, blah, blah. And then when I visited 1 or 2 times, the second time I visited, the fourth time I visited, he said, I think we want you to stay on. And what I normally do for the guys is, we do provide some, for some stipends for them. And I said, oh, sure, that's fine. In fact, I even jokingly said to him, I said, oh, you're going to have to pay me for this knowledge. I will not lie to you. I'm not going to sit on a platform for 2 hours a day and don't get paid, because I'm actually taking some time. So yes, we did for the first, I want to believe the first year and a half. Every 2 weeks there was some stipend, and just to be transparent, I believe it was like $400 every 2 weeks. And then about a year and a half ago, he reached out to us, and he just said to us, he said, look, guys, business is not doing too well. And, and so, but in fact, the moment he said it, I remember it was on a call. And all of us say, come on, man, Stanton, we're family now. This is not about, this is not about money or anything like that. We've built a platform. We are big. The Spoon Talk is our baby. So the answer is in 2 parts. For the first year and a half, we did get some type of stipend, and then and it wasn't anything like we signed a contract or anything, even though we used to joke on the platform and say, we had a contract, but we never really signed any contract. It was all pretty much based on friendship and trust. And then he was also very, he was very magnanimous to be able to provide us with that stipend. But within a year and a half, the last year and a half, he has not been. It hasn't been. There hasn't been any stipend or anything provided to us.
Right.
But let me come in, Ben. And I'm sorry, guys. I personally never had any regular stipend from Stanton. Maybe here and there, but I never had a 2 weeks or monthly. Ben, you remember one time you even laugh at me and say, "Oh, you're doing this and something free." Most of my appearance on Spoon was on a pro bono base, and here and there, Christmas something here and there, but every month, no. I mean.
And I also want to say something before you move on, because I know Anthony's going to come in. Yeah. And I want to say,
I just want to echo Mr. Kev, if he wants to, the here and there and something. I don't know if you want to throw in any amount. If you don't want to, that's fine. But
I do around the same neighborhood of what Ben talking about here and there.
Okay.
Yeah,
not too much.
So I do want to say, and I want to make it. I want to come out of the door. I believe that Stanton is a good man. I want to say that for the record. We got a chance to get to know him. We got a chance to get to know his family. I met his wife, beautiful kids. And I do want to state that for the record, regardless of whatever, has happened. I think it's important that we state that for the record, because I do believe, and I still consider him a friend, and I still consider him someone who I believe we got close knitted as a family. So I want to make that clear.
Thank you. Let me go to Dr. Peabody, if you want to speak to that same question.
Yeah, sure. In the first year, he did give a little stipend to us, and then later on he couldn't continue. About a year, almost 2 years now, he couldn't continue giving. But the fact that he's a very generous guy. Let's be realistic. He will give you. I mean, you met him somewhere you'll meet. If it's 400, 500, he would give it to you. I mean, that was very good of him. He was very, very generous. You can't take that. He was very generous.
Mr. George.
Yeah, like my colleague said, yes. Since a year and a half ago, he stopped giving us that wherever this $400 you're giving us. He stopped it, and he told us, like he said, he wasn't in a position to continue. And in fact, Spoon have made us. I mean, we are out there, people know us and so forth. But whenever we travel, whenever he's invited to a program, like interstate, he invited to a program, he asked us to accompany him. Yes, he will, and we're leaving our jobs, leaving our families and so forth. So he will make sure that if we'll finance ourselves, then he will pre-finance the trip, and then reimburse us for going. So for even the trip to Liberia, yes, same thing. So
thank you. So here's my final question, and one person can answer is: was there any structure when it comes to organization, or Ben is the maybe you are responsible for this one? We have the CEO, we have an office manager. When it comes to the Spoon Talk now, I don't mean the global or the bigger Spoon network. What was it like structurally?
Structurally, there was no real. To be honest with you, again, like I said, it mostly was. It was like a brotherhood. It was like, and then Dr. Richardson came in, right? Because I remember for the longest time there was this huge debate on whether we should include a woman, and I know Stanton used to always joke and say, "My man will come bring a woman on the tier, it will be a problem." They will start giving all that time. But then we ultimately brought in our sister, Dr. Richardson, who joined us. But there was never really to say, oh, there was this hierarchy order, Stanton. Obviously, Stanton was the CEO of the network. And that's the other thing I want to state. People mix Spoon Network and Spoon Talk. Right. Spoon Network consists of his other businesses, his radio stations and other things, which we had nothing to do with, right? All we had was the platform that we appeared on. And yes, obviously, we consider ourselves a part of the Spoon family. So sometimes we're very quick to, sometimes we're very quick to like just run with things and say, oh yeah, that spoon. In fact, Spoon Talk became Spoon Network, and I like to make that distinction because there was Spoon Network where the three radio stations and the TV stations and all the other things he was doing, and then there was Spoon Talk, which ultimately was a signature program on the radio that ultimately gained the notoriety that we ended up gaining. So
yeah, Mr. C.
Thank you, gentlemen. I want to start from where you guys just ended on the issue of the stipend. $400 about that year and then went on for about a year and a half and a stop. At some point, you guys became best of buddies, and now you're being informed, hey, I can't continue. Did your curiosity, urge you to ask, hey, where was the money coming from? When we were receiving it, and now it's not coming when we are putting in more time now. Did you care to ask that question? And now that this Spoon Talk became very popular, did you ask whether or not it was raising money to pay you to continue the stipend? You didn't ask that question?
Do you guys want me to take it, or Tomalin, you want to go in?
Let me say this. First of all, when we got there, we talk a lot. So I asked him what was his, what was the deal? And he told me he has in nursing schools and so forth. And so forth. So then I asked him, and he said, well, that's why I went to the office in Delaware. I went to Florida too, and I saw his structure. So, and I said, okay, and you and I know nursing school make money in this country. So when somebody owned a nursing school and so forth, and he had real estate business too. So I said, this guy, so I knew he was well to do. And so he made it clear. I mean, he showed us how he was earning his money. And we never got involved. We just saw it, and when they spoke on our Spoon Talk. So until we reached to this point.
So yeah, let me also take a stab at that. So yeah, obviously when I joined, I did ask him. I was like, "Hey, what do you do?" And he did mention to me that in fact, his exact words to me was, "I buy." He said, "I run a nursing school, and what I do is I buy struggling nursing schools that are not doing so well. I have a chance to go in there and turn it around and stuff like that." Again, look, I never dug any deeper. I have my job. I work in this country. I'm a professional. I'm a project manager. Many people don't know that. Many people believe that I live, I live off of politics, but that's another story. Like, I always like to laugh and when people say that about me. But yeah, I never really, to be quite honest with you, I never really dug deeper, never asked any difficult questions or to see, because at the end of the day, I was like, listen, this is a young Liberian. This is someone who has made a name for himself. He is reputable in our society. In fact, Stanton, like Peabody said, was very generous. There are a lot of people who Stanton helped, political leaders, political figures, all of them, everybody. He was very, very generous with people. So there was never that thing where all those questions were asked. And so that's why when this indictment dropped, everybody was shocked, like everybody else. We got to find out the way everybody else got a chance to find out. So,
yeah, actually, the thing is, if you go to that school, the one they had in Delaware, you had no reason to deny that there's not something serious going on there. It looked very real. Everything was real. You go in the office, you see professors, they had nice in lab, they had everything there. So if you go there your first time, there was no reason to believe that something illegal was going on or something bad was going on. It looked very legitimate. I mean, I went there 1 or 2 times and saw it, and it looked legitimate. So my conclusion was, hey, he got a school and he's doing well. We're very proud of this man. He's doing very well. He had a lot of students. You go there sometimes, you see a lot of folks come there. So you have no way of denying that there was not a legitimate school. I don't know about it. I just know this man had a school and he was running it and he was doing great and all of that. That's all I know. So.
Thank you. Go ahead, Tomalin, go ahead.
Let me just add there. Okay, I know you asked a very good question, Anthony. But let me say this though. You know, there were times where people would come out, you see on Facebook, especially when whenever on the show, and then if Stanton went after someone on the political side, the next thing you hear, people will be writing on Facebook about FBI stuff. We hear all this stuff, and then at certain times we ask him individually, what's going on? And he dismissed it, like they let them talk, and so forth. And in fact, one incident with me is that I think last year, someone who worked in the department asked me and told me, he said, well, I want to talk to you, and brought it to my attention, and I said, look, it's keeping evidence on you guys. I said, like how? So then I went and asked him, and the exact word to me was, you my brother. Whenever you hear and stuff like that, keep it to yourself. I don't want to hear anymore. Don't bring it to me. Stay away from that. I don't want to hear about that talk anymore. And just don't bother to tell me about it. Keep it to yourself. I don't want to hear it. So I said, but then everything is fine. And I just said, well,
thank you, Mr. Josh. And
hold on, Anthony. I want Mr. Josh to give a little more. He said FBI stuff, and they said they were keeping surveillance on you guys, meaning 4 of you plus Mr. Witherspoon and other. FBI said they were keeping surveillance on you.
It was this Liberian guy. I won't call his name, but he worked with Homeland Security, I think. He met me in Trenton and told me, I want to talk to you. And then he showed me Mr. Cummings' passport. He showed me and showed me several passports, showed me what pictures were going to Liberia. He said, but I just let you know that we know all those who travel in and out of this country, we have them on database. But I just want to make you know that I'm not joking with you. I'm telling you something. But you guys are not in problem. Only your CEO is on surveillance. But I just want to let you know. So I decided to go as a friend and tell him about it. And I talked to him one-on-one, and he dismissed it. He said, look, I don't want to hear it. Keep it to yourself. When you hear anything, don't bother to tell me. I don't want to hear it. So like that, I said, but then everything is fine. So I just took it to be that way and went on. I said, but then things fine.
Okay. And my next question is, gentlemen, the Spoon Talk, and my question will be directed at a Spoon Talk because that's what I know you guys have been part of for the most part, like Ben Radley said, even though you're part of the Spoon Network family. So for Spoon Talk, did Spoon Talk make any money as a talk show? That's it to that. And the Spoon Talk as a program, as a part of the Spoon Network, did you have to give some gas money to appear? I'm asking these things because these are things we hear. Did that happen at any time?
No, I don't. And I speak for myself. I don't. First of all, I don't know of any. I know we did have discussions about trying to, because I remember I said one time, and I remember the guys where I said one time, I said we need to actually monetize the platform, right? Because people do that on Facebook. Let's do ads. Let's do this. We got all these people following us and stuff like that. But then it never really went anywhere, to be quite honest with you. The whole issue of doing ads for companies and stuff like that. I remember, I think I won at one time, I think Orange even reached out and said they wanted to, Tommy, you remember that conversation? I think they reached out and they said they wanted to do like an ad on like a promo, like, when we on live.
Sponsor the show.
Yeah, and they said when they would say Spoon Talk presented by Orange or something like that.
Okay. And
I remember I brought it to Stanton's attention, but then he said, well, yeah, work on it, try to check on it. I asked the guys, but then it never really went anywhere, to be quite honest with you. And then I think also that's when we started to get very, 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 very controversial, right? When there were certain things happening, we started, the platform was going after political figures and stuff like that. So I think maybe Orange themselves said, well, okay, well, maybe we shouldn't do anything. But no, to answer your question, no, I don't know if any resources were raised as a result of the result of the platform. I don't know that. All I did was listen. I logged on. I came. I talked my politics. People cussed me. I laughed and left, and we left the platform. But no, not to my knowledge. But like I said, I do know we had quite a few interests at one point in time To answer the question whether people were paid to come on, I also don't know that. I don't remember when I don't know if Stanton did that with people, but I don't personally know that also.
Ben, you also said that Stanton is very generous. He gave money to political leaders and politicians. You care to mention any name?
Well, no.
And whether that was in exchange of any political favor?
No. I wouldn't say that. When I say he was very generous, Stanton, it's not secret. There were times where we would raise money for certain causes. He will contribute. Remember when I think Archie Pompon situation? He gave.
I'm talking about political leaders. I'm talking about
no. What I'm talking about is the fact that there are people. There were causes that I'm sure he supported. He was very generous. So, but no, I'm not. I don't want to go into.
No, I just don't want it to slide. I just want to be transparent.
Yeah.
Anthony, if you have more questions, but let's come to the point of mainly why you guys are here. We read your press release, and we had Mr. Witherspoon's version of the story even before you guys came out. Before we go there, I just want to go around the room and say what happened.
All right, so let me start again. So listen, the thing about us, and many people don't know, is that the platform became very, I would say, controversial, right? There was a lot happening. There's a lot of moving parts. There were a lot of enemies created. There were a lot of friends, and when you get that big, and I think it actually changed because when we came back from Liberia, when we went to Liberia, and the response and the reception that we got in Liberia, I think everybody was discussing it, right? When the president went to visit us, we literally were everywhere we went. People were celebrities, Yeah. So it garnered a lot of attention. And so what happened was, first of all, let me state for the record, we did not resign because of Stanton's indictment. Point blank, period. We don't know. I cannot say anything, but I don't know the merits or the demerits of the case. What I know is what you know, Mr. Ja, is what you have read publicly, is what is in the public sphere. So we did not resign because of Stanton's the indictment and the current case that he's going through. We resigned because we had an internal disagreement on the forward movement of the platform. And this conversation started way before Stanton got indicted. There were issues, there were concerns that we had started to raise internally amongst ourselves. I personally, I will say, I remember people used to say, I used to always say, Spoon Talk is a melting pot. That's what made Spoon Talk so powerful, because everybody felt they have a way to, when they get there, they will be able to go there and get the chance to get the side of the story. I always used to tell my colleagues on this platform, I used to tell them, I said, gentlemen, we're not investigative journalists. We're not journalists. I used to always say that. I said, we're political pundits, we're political analysts. So I think one of the places that we started drifting was when we started turning into a platform where, whistleblowers will come and we breaking these news and all of these different things, talking about these corruption. And not to say anything is wrong with talking about corruption, but we started getting into the business of actually investigating, right? We were collecting evidence, people sending evidence, people sending this. So I started to ask some of those questions to say, listen, we're getting into the election area. Let us start focusing more our attention on the politics. Let's start inviting, let's start going back to what made Spoon Talk. Let's start having these candidates come. Let's start grilling them. Let's start asking them the questions and stuff like that. I think Stanton had another direction he wanted to go, but then he was also, there was also this thing of, we got caught up in the facts of the hype. Depending on who you dealing with today, the other side praising you. When you're dealing with Cummings, the Unity Party people praising you. When you're dealing with Boyka, you remember there was this pedal on this swing seesaw where every day, one day we are ANC platform, the next day we CDC platform, the next day we Unity Party platform. Long story short,
right?
I think what ended up happening was when the indictment came, first of all, it was a shock in the system. It was a shock. We woke up. I was in Liberia and I saw like almost 50 missed calls on my phone. When we got the conversation, we reached out and we had a meeting with Stanton to, first of all, check on him, how his family is doing. All of those things happened. Then the conversation started to intensify about, okay, moving forward, what is this platform is going to look like? And I do remember some of the conversations. So I will stop and let, maybe I'm sure because I feel like you have a follow-up.
Right, I do. But what before you start, was this always done in a group or was it one-on-one? Because anytime you're ready to start this conversation, was it all 4, 5, 6, 7 of you coming together to talk? Or was it Ben talking, or at one point Peabody, at one point Keff? What was it like?
So y'all can answer if you guys want. I mean,
No, Ben.
sometimes I would say sometimes. Yeah, I would say sometimes.
All right, let me go to Peabody on the same question. What happened? We saw your
look, Dennis.
And then those internal disagreements.
Yeah, you know, the fact here is folks don't know what happened and they are like jumping to conclusion. For the fact here, Stanton removed us from the show. I can send you a chat from in our chat room that Stanton, actually I have since Tuesday, he blocked us from going to the show, to gaining access to the show. If anybody have watched the show since last Tuesday, you have not seen me on. You have not seen Tomalin and Ben. He blocked us.
And what prompted that?
I have this message here that he blocked us from going on the show because we engaged him that we need to discuss for at least a minute. Just gave the audience some information about what happened, his case. We said we're not going to get into the merit of the case. We're not going to say anything, but just tell the audience that, look, our CEO got indicted. He pleaded not guilty, and investigations are ongoing. He refused. And when we engage him to rebrand the show so that it can bring some credibility back, he refused and blocked us. I was blocked since Tuesday. And that's why I've not been on the show. If you block me from Tuesday to Friday, you don't want me on the show. Then I say, you know what? It's about time to pack my bag and leave the show. But we did not resign. He took us off the show. That's the fact.
And why was he doing that, you think?
Because he did not like our engagement about rebranding the show, about having a conversation on what has happened so that we can tell our public. We engaged.
And do you think he was getting a sense that maybe by that suggestion that you were making to him that you might be trying to take away from him that which he built, maybe?
Why would we want to take somebody's show? Nobody want to take away this man's show. It was still going to be the show, but I mean, with that cloud hanging over you, we were trying to make sure to safeguard him so that it will not run into different problem. The problem here was, look, let's do it this way so that for the future. And he refused. And I can send you the message that we were removed. He removed us from the show and removed us from chat room. Send that message to you so you can see. We didn't leave the show. He took us out. And then at the end, I resigned. I'll speak for myself. I resigned.
And Peabody, exactly what were the rebranding that you were talking about? What was it? What was this rebranding all about?
The rebranding here was, hey, we're going to take down our pictures. No picture will be there that will show CEO on the show. We're going to take that picture down and we'll maybe put like the flag of Liberia or put something there so that the show could be like that. It will still be spawned. It will still run. But can you imagine? We talk about people all the time. People got arrested. People are corrupt. People steal. And we can't even say a word about what happened to our CEO on the show. He said we should not talk about it. He would talk about his own case. We should not get into his case. And that's the reason that we were blocked. That's the reason we were removed from the show.
And he wanted his picture to be on the flyer, the Spoon Talk flyer, as you guys will post daily. He wanted his picture to be there. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, we wanted the entire picture to get down. To be honest, get down.
Okay. Let me talk to Keff, to Tomalin before we go to Keff, because Keff, Tomalin, what's your own, what happened and why did you resign?
Look, let me just come first. On the day of this thing on the deal of this indictment. It was on a Wednesday morning, and Senator would call me in the morning. We talk and discuss other issues that happen over the day and so forth. And I called him down. I called him all morning. I didn't get him, and I got calls from Liberia calling me. Some people calling from Liberia, and I said, "Look, yesterday was the man's wife's birthday, man. So the people on honeymoon. So I mean, that's why maybe you guys not getting hold of him." But the calls kept coming all day, and then I got concerned. So then I reached out to his family, and I asked them. I said, and they said, "Oh no," they said we haven't heard nothing. So later on, before the show could start, I contacted. I got a tip. I got to talk to his sister and told me that the woman said that they talked to his wife and he had gone to the office to take care of business. So I said, okay. So I got on it. Before I got on the show, I got a tip that there was a raid. And then, but I got to just imagine now, you're about to get on the show, and that's that kind of a news. Okay. And mind you, months and whenever there was a political person would attack on Spoon or whatever the case, you hear people saying the FBI watching you, FBI watching you, all the kind of story we're telling you. So, and then I already inquired and so forth. But when I heard that news, just imagine about 10 minutes before the show.
The news of the indictment.
Yeah, 10 minutes before the show. Just imagine how someone would feel, right? Like I was completely demoralized and I was like shaking because, like we said, I never expected to hear such a news. But I got that news, and then I had to do the show. I had to do the host. So, but I was on the show that day, not to myself at all. Completed.
But Tomalin, may I hold you there? You said somebody had tipped you or the person pull you and show you passport of other political actors.
Yeah, somebody
and told you that this is coming. So how could you have heard this now and be this short and you saying that you never expected anything like that?
Question, because like I told you earlier, when I heard that, I confronted Stanton and he told me that it was dismissed. Look, when you hear a news song, keep your news there. It's not. It's like I don't want to hear it. If you hear anything, don't tell me. You hear what I'm saying? So that's why I felt okay, fine, because everything is fine. So that's why it got me shocked. Now I'm telling you, that what got me shocked when I heard that one got that tip off. So I got on the show, but at that time, none of the other guys knew. I think I was thinking Peabody knew, but nobody else knew on the show. And I kept on looking at the comments that day to see what stuff would come up, but nothing came up. So we went through the show, and then right after the show, he still gave me a call to call me and told me that what had happened, and that we're here out there. You're here out there, but everything is fine right now. So Thursday, news started to come up on social media. Everything went in the air, And just imagine for that whole week, each of us on this panel, all of the guys on there, how we felt, because all along I felt that nothing was I wouldn't ever hear such a news, but I heard that, and then this thing happened, and we were being bombarded, we were being attacked. I mean, you know how you felt psychologically, had an impact on us, and so forth. But we said we had a meeting now, and then said, look, this is where we are. He briefed us on it, and then we said, look, you have to write a statement, address our viewers, address the Liberian people, tell them what happened and where we are, and give them some just a little bit of information, but you don't have to go deep in it because it's on an investigation now, right? So, and that what happened, and statement was issued. We told him, look, but then again, for now, you gotta stay away, stay back from the show, and so forth. He wanted to come still, said no, you cannot come, stay away. And as time progressed, we will handle things differently.
But I wanted to say something, Dennis.
Yeah, I just want you to complete. You're saying stay away, but he's the one paying the bills, right?
Okay, yeah, but then now, mind you, now we had a meeting on a Tuesday. I think I called for that meeting. And the first question I asked, I said, look, with what's happening now, I want to know first whether Spoon Talk will continue. Then he said, let me ask a question. He said, let me go around the room, asking each person whether they still want to be on Spoon Talk. Everybody in the room, there was Peabody, Keff, Ben, Francine, we all said, look, we are still going to be part of the show. He said, if that's the case, I can assure you Spoon Talk will continue. So we said, fine. And we started to move on. We said, make the statement, everything was fine, we'll move on, and so forth. But again, when people started to question us every game about your credibility, all kinds of stuff, like going back and forth. We said, look, you need to come up. We need to break. We can't just keep the people in darkness.
And that's where, Dennis, that's where I wanted to pick up from, because I think there's a point where I wanted to talk about that meeting. And it's very important. I hope you gave us the time to explain that, because this is where the main drama started. When we had that first meeting, when we had the agreement, in fact, Tomalin, he's very right when he said, hey, when Stanton asked the question about, oh, whether anybody wants to stay and stuff like that, I said, listen, and we all agree, you got to issue a statement. Then we went further and said, when you issue this statement, in fact, I said, make sure that statement is written with the consent of your lawyer. I said, because whatever you say publicly is going to be used against, or, whatever it is, right? So when he did the statement, I remember, but then I also stated to him clearly, I said, a part of that statement, when you come on, you have to announce to the country that you're stepping away. To our surprise, and this is where, like I said, the whole drama started, because the statement was issued, and the statement, I think, is still on Spoon page. It was a well-written statement, very detailed. It just talked about the fact that we can talk about the issues and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. Then when he came on, in fact, I think it was me who actually announced it and said, because that day he reached out, I was in Liberia, he said, I want all of you guys to come on, so it looks like we're all, I thought, oh, sure, we will all be on. I will log on from Liberia. When he came on, he actually stated, he started talking and it was going well. Then he said, Spoon Talk is going to be bigger than ever. We're going to stay. In fact, Monday, I will be on the show. And I remember everybody was like, oh my God, like, no, this is not what we talked about. And then after he left from the show, we had another conversation and said, we have to engage Stanton. Keff was the moderate one, because Keff always kept saying, guys, we're engaging, because this thing is Stanton's baby. Like, literally, This is therapeutic for him.
So Ben, not to interrupt, I just want to bring Keff in, because he's being quiet before he falls asleep. Let me hear from Keff as to his side of the story when it comes to why you joined. Because the first press release did not carry your name. It was the second one, right? So let me hear from you.
Thank you, Dennis Jack. I serve as the mediator between my guys and the rest of with Stanton. I keep I try to keep myself in the middle, because the whole thing was going a different direction. I try to keep myself in the middle to put them together. So I will talk to Stanton, I will talk to the guys the whole week.
So who were on both sides? Stanton on one side, who were on the other side?
The three guys were on the other side.
Where was Dr. Francine?
Dr. Francine was and there, so I couldn't tell where she was, but so I was doing the talking between them, and I told Stanton, because one of the things the guys said, which makes sense, to rebrand the show. The guys said, we cannot be preaching equity and we don't come with clean hands. They said, no. We said, we cannot be holding the government feet to the fire. We cannot be attacking. And then we have this thing on our hand. That's the point they were coming from. So the rebranding is not to take the station away from Stanton. It's not to take away anything. Is to stay back and let the platform to redeem her credibility, because the entire country were going after us. Our inbox was this attack. You're not talking. Why are you talking against the government? Why are you talking against this person? And you guys know the way I was on the show. I will go hard on the opposition. I will say this, but then while we are muted on our CEO. So the guys then said, so I was one in the chat in the meeting said, you know what, if Stanton wanted to talk about his case, let him talk. But sometimes I said to them, I'm not too comfortable talking about it because of security implication and all that thing. So the guys then said, no, we don't need to go deep into it. We just need to say something about it because of we owe that. And the reference and my former colleague, which is my partisan, and Isaac Doe. When Isaac Doe had his incident, he was off the show quick. And matter of fact, he was off the chat room quick. The reason was we cannot be preaching certain things, and we have an Isaac Doe who were accused.
Right.
So he was off the show.
Did he do that voluntarily, or he was kicked out, or it was a unanimous decision?
No, it was a unanimous decision.
It was a unanimous decision. Mm-hmm. It was a unanimous decision.
But Dr. Francine was the one who led that.
But that's what I'm going to be. Dr. Francine led the attack. Dr. Francine led that attack on Isaac Doe and said, look, he needs to be out because we cannot have a show and have Isaac Doe. As a matter of fact, he said to us that she cannot sit on the platform with a correct character of Isaac Doe.
And with that, I'm curious now. What is Dr. Francine rather?
I don't want to twist to Dr. Francine right now.
No, I'm asking my question. You can choose not to answer it because you are saying that she was very firm when Isaac Doe issue was happening, and that you guys made a decision. And Isaac Doe got. I mean, it was on the basis of accountability. This is accountability to. It said that she thinks that Isaac Doe is a different person, and this is the CEO who pays the bill, so you should make exceptions.
Let me say this in her defense, in Dr. Francine's defense. Mm-hmm. When Stanton says in the meeting that those guys should leave, mm-hmm. when he attacked those guys in the meeting that they should leave and get out of the call, Dr. Francine said, Stanton, what you said is not right.
Mm-hmm. True.
She said that in her defense. She said,
no, my question is in respect to you guys saying let Stanton stay away. What did she say? Was she in agreement that
Stanton there was no definitive? She wasn't definitive.
She wasn't. So at that point, we don't know because I made a call to her and say, you have to step in. I will not be the only person stepping in. You have to step in. But let me say this. A lot of people out there asking, why you join the guys? The reason and I joined those guys, because when I tried to mediate between, I realized that my friend and brother Stanton Witherspoon had a different motive. His motive was to put out those guys. A matter of fact, I will say this, and there's a reason I never said it to the guys, and I will say it today, because I never wanted the guys them to feel bad. He said, I don't need them. I don't want them. He said that to me. When he took the guys them off the chat room, Ben called me. And guess what I did? I lied to Ben and said he was just joking. He was just playing fun. He will come back.
You're trying to cover him up, right?
Yes, I did. Because when he took the guys them, he never wanted the guys. So when folks out there saying that the guys just left, or I see some folks say betray, it's the other way around. I think my brother Stanton Witherspoon tried to betray the guys by bringing another people. And I told him, and I'm saying this, Stanton, I'm the most closer guy to Stanton on that show. We talk every day, every minute, to his family. And I told him, Keff, will not be on that platform without my original guys. Because one, we don't agree. Ben and I, Tomalin, Dr. Peabody, we're not on the same. I'm on the government side, and they're on their side.
So Kev, quickly, when you guys, two questions I have for you. When you guys say the CEO should stay back, he should recuse himself, knowing very well that the Spoon Talk does not bring in money. Everything is out of the CEO's pocket. He is paying everything, in fact, including stipends before. When he stayed back, what really does that mean? Who's going to be paying the bills? Who's going to be coordinating things? Because you guys, the structure was not there. He was like doing everything.
You asked a good question. This was not staying back as in give us Spoon.
Exactly. That's the difference. That's what I wanted to say.
This was not that as in give us Spoon. No. This was staying back as in let the case play out.
Don't come on the show. That's what it means.
Yes.
Just the show.
That's the show. Let the case play out. Don't try to do things behind the scene.
But he wasn't on the show. I mean,
but Kev, can I come in 1 second?
Okay, go ahead.
Let me say something, Mr. Ja. Couple of things. I said it earlier. We don't run Spoon. We never did. We never endeavored to. We don't know how people are paid in Monrovia, and like we say, for almost a year and a half, we have not been, But the point where we were trying to raise here, and there's something else that is very important that I need to highlight here, is the fact that when we told Stanton, the other thing that he was doing was we felt it's almost like, I remember I even gave him the example of Roger Ailes. I said, Roger Ailes was probably the most powerful man in American media landscape. Mm-hmm. He started Fox. The Murdoch family owned Fox, but Roger Ailes was the one who started Fox News. Roger Ailes was accused of sexual advances to women and stuff. In fact, there's a movie on Roger Ailes. If people don't know, go watch it. It's called Bombshell. Roger Ailes had to, when they announced that there was going to be an internal investigation, not federal. When the people brought a complaint, it was an internal investigation. Roger Ailes had to step aside as president of Fox News.
Right, Fox because Fox can run itself, but Spoon cannot run without the CEO.
Yeah, but the point is, we want to repeat. If this is Stanton's, okay, let's just say, right, this is his legacy, Spoon Talk. Right. Our argument was, if we're not telling you to shut the radio station down and cut everything off. Our argument is we are being bombarded. First of all, we wake up every single day. We come on the show and we act like there's no elephant in the room. Yeah. We act like nothing has happened. We're the only platform that acts like nothing has happened. And that was wrong. Every single day, people were asking us. We didn't know what to say. And for me, I even said in the meeting, Mr. Ja and Anthony, I said, I don't know how. That's why we're having this meeting of the minds. How are we going to do this? Is this going to be once a month update? Maybe when you go to court, we say, listen, but we always with a caveat as there's a legal thing. We can't talk about the marriage or demarriage, but this is an update for our audience. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying. There was never an attempt to say there are win-win me. So I find it disingenuous for him to even have made a statement. Who will pay for the gas and who will pay for the thing? Because at the end of the day, this was not about taking over the network.
Thank you. Let me go back to Kev as to exactly why he resigned, because we heard a different story. Mr. Hassan.
Yeah, that's the reason I resigned, because I saw the platform were going in a different direction. I told Stanton this. And I hope he's listening, whoever will listen would let him. I told him this: I would not be on the platform without my original guys. I would not be. This is not about being on my political side or my political view, but I will not be on the platform Matter of fact, I have threatened to walk away. Tommy George was one of the person who say I should stay. I even got off the show once. Tommy George called me, "Don't do that." The guys they say, "Don't do that," because I would no longer felt that I should be there because the platform was going in a different direction. That's not what I signed for. That's not what I want to be. So it was my personal feeling and at that time. So the reason I would say because the platform is going in a different direction. That's not the platform I know that I want.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's listen to Mr. Witherspoon.
Thank you for wonderful work. We appreciate you. Levin, how? Greetings to you and the family. I hope the young man and the young woman is doing well in school. And your beautiful wife, we say greetings to them all.
Thank you.
The general himself, the minister himself, Colonel Ed E. Remy Gray, want to say thanks for your participation.
All right.
Great program. To all of our followers, we say thank you for being faithful, joining us, joining the Spoon family, the network, as we move on. As you know, 8 months to election. A little under 8 months to election. We want to say thank you for being faithful through it all. We happen to be here.
The recording is kind of a little scratchy here. But Kev, what Mr. Witherspoon said, that you called him and said that you got a call, a mandate from the highest in government, and most of us surmise that that's President Weah, that you should get off Spoon Talk. If you stay there, you are on your own. You are not representing the government. You called Mr. Witherspoon to say that. What's your response to that story? Is it true?
Let me make this clear. In no time, and I will say this, in no time, the president of Liberia called me and said, stay out of Spoon. Matter of fact, let me say this to you, Mr. Jai. In Liberia, we were having lunch with the president, and he said to me, he said, Keff, let the people talk. Let people oppose. That's what democracy is about. Let it call. He always want different view. And he said, let Tomalin speak. Let the guy speak. He said, but that's what the guys are there. That's over there. Dr. Richardson were there. Other folks that were there. He turned to me, he said, let them speak. So in no time, this president will want to silence the voice of anybody. I made a conscious decision because the way the platform were becoming. I made my own decision. Since I made my decision, I haven't spoken to the president, to nobody in the government. I made that decision. And the decision is coming from me, Keff, Hassan, not the president.
So, Kev, if I may follow up, you removed the part of the president calling you.
Mm-hmm.
Did CDC, the party I understand you are a member of, call you and instructed you to inform Stanton about you leaving?
Let me say this to you. The answer is no. Nobody within the government called me. Nobody. I stood with my guys because of the betrayal that I was saying, tried to remove my guys and bring in another face. I was not comfortable with that.
All right.
I was not comfortable with another face because I decided to step back because reason, Anthony, reason. What the guys were talking about is about rebranding in order to regain credibility.
Thank you, Kev. That answered my question. Thank you so much. Peabody, I want to come to you here.
Mr. Sia, let me play that again because, Kev, are you saying this conversation never happened between Mr. Witherspoon and you? Not at all.
And Mr. Ja, after Keff, I'd like to say something quick, please.
This discussion that they said on Spoon, that I said the president instructed me, never happened.
Let's take a listen.
Legally, we cannot speak on the legal issue that is concerning what is out there, the case. We will speak on it accordingly, due time. Thanks for your prayers. A lot of people have reached out to me. A lot of people continue to send me scripture. We went back to the Bible because it says, CO, read the scripture, read the scripture. God is in control. We are well. We want to announce, which is very important, we have to tell the nation, as you get ready to move towards election, Spoon Talk is here to stay. We will do everything by God's grace to give you the message. We will be objective. We will be very measured. We take no side, as you all know. For government or not for government, imposition or out of position, whatever you may call it, we take no side. We want to be very objective on the program. I follow the show. Dr. Richardson and the team been doing extremely well. I have come to announce to you at around 2:50 p.m. Eastern United States time, my brother Keff Hassan called me and he said, CEO, the government of Liberia is hired top, have advised me to leave the Spoon Talk. And I said, Keff Hassan, we've been in this boat since 2020 during the COVID. You came on the show not because of government. You came on the show not because of me or anyone, but your desire to help through the foundation, the Spoon Foundation. He said, yes, CEO, from the highest within the government. I'm shaking. I'm crying. I don't know what to say. But they said that if I'm on Spoon Talk, I do not represent the government. I'm crying. I don't know what to say.
Let me come in on that. When I called him, told him I can be on, I left the barber shop. Ben, I think I talked to you. I was in the barber shop.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the cleaners, got my clothes from the cleaners. Why should I cry? For what? For what? That alone. That's all. Witherspoon, a friend, will not say I was crying. Crying for what? Am I a baby?
Right.
Crying for what?
You talk to him, but not about that, not about the president.
No, I was telling him I can't be on Spoon. I cannot be on Spoon because what you 3:30, right? So I called him several times to tell him that I will not be on Spoon because I made a conscious decision that if those guys will not be on, I'm not going to be.
Thank you. Let me add one more there. Mr. Eugene Lamin Fagon, who is also there with you, had this to say that this whole thing is about him. Let's take a listen.
The whole truth. These people went into the chat room and voted overwhelmingly to remove me from the platform in their chat room. and I challenge anyone. The screenshots are available. I double dare them to lie about it. Last week, Monday, week before the last, they began harassing the CEO. What was my charge? He's too dominant. He know all. He needs to be removed. He's spoiling our show. And the CEO said to them, you guys come here. You preach for yourself. This man come here. He talks for himself. What is the problem? They said that he must remove me. They insisted that I must be removed. For 1 week, they went back and forth in the chat room. And he said to them, he said, Ben, you travel with the vice president, or Iran, including Togo recently. You are a co-host here. You came back, you said, President, we are sent for you. And y'all had a nice time. You came back here. It was on that platform, that Ben endorsed Alexander Kunis. Ben came back from President. What did Ben say? It was an honor for the president to invite me, and I'm open to anything. Fair enough. Tomalin have gone from anti-sedition to inactive sedition, then to independent, then to what? Sedition.
So that's the gist. He said when you guys failed in removing him, your next step was to get Mr. Witherspoon removed, to recuse him.
I don't even want us to get credence to this.
Let me come there. You see, I don't think we should give that credence to Fagon. Let me tell you, I in the group said that I called Stanton and said, look, Fagon talk about my parents. And because of that, I would leave Spoon. And the guys then say, oh, my man, no, you can't do that. We're in there. I say, I will walk away because I don't want to sit there with someone who's talking about my parents. Tomalin George went out and said, we can't do this. We are a platform who have different views. That's what Tomalin George said. He said, Keff, don't go. Tomalin George spoke to me. He said, don't walk away. We need different views. I said, different views will not include my parents. So to come out and say the guys there voted, you see, that's why I walk away. My brother Stanton Witherspoon is my dear friend, but what he told Fagon was wrong. Because Tomalin George, that he talking and guys and saying that was not the truth. Because Ben, I got angry at Tomalin George. I got angry. I said, I mean, this man talking about my parents, then you say we should have different view. So to come here and say this thing, it's hurtful. No. So what Stanton told Fagon is wrong. So Ben, you're coming on your own side, but I can tell you no. I got angry at Tomalin George. I got angry. I said, this man talking about my parents, talking about certain things that is not true, and then you want me to sit out. You guys don't want me to leave because I said I was going to walk away from the platform.
I want to first of all let me state, I'm not going to respond to a man who wears a woman blouse and said the government gave him cyanide and is still alive. So I'm not even going to waste my time. Honestly, I'm not going to. But let me say this. This was classic what Stanton was doing. The divide and rule and conquer, whatever the situation is. And I would state this. The reason why Stanton rushed on the show that day to throw Keff under the bus, who, by the way, was the one person who was supposed to play this, was playing this mediator role. When Keff called me on Thursday, after our heated meeting we had with Stanton, Keff called me and said, Ben, I think Stanton has slept over the whole issue. And you know, he's calm. He wants to talk to you. I said to him, I said, Keff, my concern here is, I know Stanton, sometimes he can do that thing. Keff said, Ben, you can't do that. I said, you know why? You're right. I never caught a speech from Stanton. In fact, it was Stanton who left the meeting. So if he called, I will answer. But then he said, Ben, I will do a 3-way. I said, good, because I need you to be on that call for reference. When Keff called on the phone, in fact, Keff called me back and said, Ben, you don't believe. Stanton called me, Jenna, and told me, say, I'm going to tell you, say that I the one requesting the meeting. So I laughed. I said, well, you know how he can act. When Stanton came on the phone, Stanton said to me, he said, oh, Keff, you the one call your meeting. What's going on? So I jumped in and I said, Keff and Stanton, our position remains the same. My position here is, let's have another conversation and let's get to a logical conclusion. Stanton said to me, Tomalin and Dr. Peabody will not come back on the show. He said, you and Keff, if you won't come back on the show, that's fine. I said to him, but then you know what? This conversation has ended because apparently we're not making any progress. Fast forward. After Keff called him and told him that he was standing with us, he jumped ahead and went on the show to throw Keff under the bus. But he did not stop there. And maybe you will play that. He announced that day on the show that Ben, he said, don't ask me about Ben Sanvee. He said, because Ben will be on the show, Chairman Ben will be on the show on Monday. Peabody and Tomalin George, which are working out the schedule, they will come also, which was a lie.
Ben, if I may follow up here, based on what you just explained, I want to know, besides this man being this generous man we all hear about and you talk about as well, when it comes to leadership, running the platform, what kind of man you saw him to be? What are some of the things you have to condone to maintain that relationship with him as you ran the show?
And Ben, you kept referring to, we know how he is. Stanton will be Stanton, right? So break it down.
Listen, the bottom line is and I'm trying my best to seem like this is not about throwing him under the bus, right? This is about telling our truth.
Yeah.
Because there is this thing out there that, they betray Stanton in his hour of need and all this thing that's going on out there. And you know what? Maybe there's some legitimacy because at the end of the day, the statement we issue, we said internal disagreement and we didn't go into details, but there's only so much you can put into a statement. When I say, Stanton, we all know the truth is Stanton has a way of calling one person, saying this, trying to do this. If there's a crisis, you'll be like, oh, my man, don't worry about that, man. Talk for yourself. Those are the kind of things. And for me, it wasn't really a big deal. Like I said, half of the people who sometimes are throwing the darts, we all have these things happen sometimes in organizations and stuff like that. So it was never really a big deal for me. My issue is, and just to push forward, that's what gave rise to that press statement. We had no intention of issuing a press statement because we were under the illusion that at some point during the weekend, we were going to have a conversation. Mind you now that after we ordered the chat room, but we were still under the illusion that at some point, God kept telling us, my man, don't worry. Even Dr. Richardson, the day we had the heated argument, we ended the meeting. We stayed an extra hour on the phone with Dr. Richardson. And she said, you know what? I think you guys individually go and talk to Stanton. And I told Dr. Richardson, I said, I'm not doing that. I said, I'm not going to talk to him. I said, because if Stanton cannot respect us to stay on the call and end the conversation, I'm not going to call him. So the issue of the press statement, and it is true, I told them because Tomalin called me, panicking and upset, and said, because Stanton has said, I wasn't watching the show. Tomalin called and said, Ben, why will you go and tell Stanton that you're going back on the show? Don't do that. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, go and watch a repeat of the show. What Stanton just did. When I watched the repeat of the show, that's when I called them. And I said, gentlemen, what Stanton just did is dangerous. He threw Keff under the bus. Not only threw Keff under the bus, lied that Keff was called by the president. He lied that I will be coming on the show on Monday. And he said that you guys were coming on the show. Whereas he told me on the last conversation that I had with him that the two of you are done with spoon talk. That's when we made the decision to issue the statement, because we said we do not want to come across like, oh, this divide and conquer and rooting has taken hold, and for Keff to feel like, you know, there was something else going on. That's all that happened. That's all that happened. That was why we issued the statement on Friday night, because of what he did. And let me add this before you come in.
Right.
Tomalin George said to me, when I got you drafting the statement, he said, can we, maybe we should text it to him. I said to Tomalin, I said, the same way Stanton disrespected us by going on the show, without our knowledge, he will read our statement on Facebook, because this has to stop. Those were my words to Tomalin George. And that's the reason why we issued that statement. So it had nothing to do with somebody betraying somebody in the hour of need. In fact, most of the people today who talking about us betraying were the people who was telling us to resign from the platform on the day that the indictment came out.
Thank you.
Most of the people who are doing it.
Thank you. Dr. Peabody, I mean, this whole thing about what Mr. Witherspoon announced about Keff saying, hey, somebody at the highest told me, Keff is saying this is not true. And my question to you, I want you to comment on that and what also Eugene Fagon said. And this whole idea that now you started from the very beginning, and now you're being called that you have betrayed Mr. Witherspoon at his time of need. I want you to also speak to that. And did you, because if you work with someone for this long, you know, you sometimes give 2-week notice, or at least you inform the person. Did you actually call or email Mr. Witherspoon to say, I'm calling it quit?
You know, Mr. Job, there are some jobs where they can walk you out. They can walk you out of the office the same day. You know, they can come and get you and take you to leave the office and don't come back. You're not given the opportunity to give 2-week notice. I had no intention of leaving Spawn, but when you are blocked, I was blocked. I did not have access to even watch the show. I couldn't even get the notification. And then I was blocked in the chat room as well, because when we engaged him about rebranding, he got upset. In fact, I was one of those. There's another friend of ours who was one of the original members of the show, Reverend Raymond Callison. Raymond, I had a conversation. Raymond said, look, man, you are a pastor, I'm a pastor. What can we do on this show? And I shared with Raymond, I said, Raymond, we've got to rebrand, because we are getting the hate. I mean, people, everywhere you turn, people are calling you. I mean, people who haven't spoken to me for 2-3 years will call, just checking on you, whether you're well. I had to tell one lady, look, man, I'm not sick, okay? I'm not sick, I'm fine, because one of the things is Stanton knew his business. I didn't know anything about what he was doing. I know he was a very generous guy. Don't get me wrong, he was very generous. I mean, that's what I know. Good guy, and I've known him for more than 20 years, and I didn't know what he was doing. But when this happened, we all got affected, our families, and there were different discussions about us and this and that. And, we took a hit. Still not the only person that it's just that he got indicted, but people were already indicting us by association and all of that. They were indicting us. They were saying a lot of things. Some say you got to get her. I got over 100 calls that you got to leave that show. If we wanted to betray Stanton, we would have left the same day or the same week, because the pressure I got, I was ready to get out, because just from the people, and some of the very people now who are saying you betrayed Stanton, at the one. I mean, we're calling us to leave the show, and we said we'll stand there. I used to text Stanton every day. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you every day. I was sending a text message. But
so what Mr. Witherspoon said about Keff is not true.
I don't. It's not true because Keff was mediating. He had told Keff that he didn't want Tomalin and I on the show. He was done with us, and Keff kept telling him, "See, oh, you can't do this." Then Keff would call. He would call me. Oh, my man, I don't leave. I said, Keff, the man blocked me. I gotta go. I mean, I will leave the show. You know, the man blocked me. I'm going to leave the show. I mean, and Keff said, no, we're working on it. So up to Friday, Keff called me because I have just given up. Since Tuesday, I have no access to get on the show. Every time the show is on, maybe somebody will have to tag me and say, why are you not on the show? And I said, well, taking some time off, but he had blocked me from the show. I had no access to the show. So I had no alternative but to leave. In regards to Mr. Fagon, I don't think I'm going to give that credence. Fagon is my very good friend, and I don't think I want to talk anything about that. We advocated for Fagon to come on the show. I was one of those who talked this year. I think that Fagon come, and Fagon myself had major conversation almost every day. So I don't think so. I don't think we need to get into it. I understand what the CEO is going through, but I think he needs to sit back a little bit and think. But these kind of things will not help. It will not help the platform, or you telling somebody else this person didn't want you to come on the show. I think those are very childish, and I'm not going to get into that.
But any of you call for any form of investigation because people thought you were under surveillance as well?
No, we haven't. Nobody has to engage.
Mr. Josh, where do you go from here?
Well, let me say something first. Okay. Oh, librarians, look, let me tell you something. We are unique people. Very interesting. I remember when this thing happened first, the very people that is talking trash about us today, we are betrayed. So I'm telling you, say, leave that show. And mind you, when Spunto controlled the air of the social media, most of the people here attacking us were the one they were calling these guys are dummy. They insulted us all the time. They do nothing. But when the show was progressing, there were times where, depending on who political leaders is on scrutiny at a particular moment, they would attack. They would start insulting. They talk about the FBI story, talk about the crap, all the stuff we're doing. It had just been what's going on. Now to the point where I see some of them today who have podcasts attacking us, now telling us that you will be betrayed. I don't care what is fee. My daughters, my family, they are showing me love. They are showing me love. And that's what matters to me. Okay? And I say posterity will judge our decision. What I did was done with the dictate of my conscience. They can say what they want to say and write what they want to write. I don't care. Because I know if they were in our shoes, they would have done maybe something worse than that. Maybe if they did in Document King, they would have said, well, they're gone. But we stood by. We stood by and defended and were on the show every day. Now, Mr. Ja, when Sterling started to make schedule, tell me now, we're going through this kind of difficult period. He makes a schedule and say, Tomalin, you off. The person off. I said, no, Sterling, you're wrong. You can't do that. We're going through a difficult period. Since this thing started, we have, in fact, the entire team came together on the show. We're coming on the show regularly now. We've been standing with you. Why you make schedule and say the person off, that person not working, they're coming on the show today? That's wrong. Then he said, one point you want me using Fagon host. I said, no, you can't do that, brother. I said, you can't do that. Only the regular members can be host. You can't be Fagon. We not brought guest host on the show before. Why you want to do it now? Okay? And then next thing he did, he started to do that divide and conquer. He talked to Rebranding one time on several occasions, talked to Keff and Ben, and then just like that, he started to exclude me and Peabody off. Then he said, he told them, I'm taking them off. They're not coming on no more. All because I said I will not come on the show until our full team were on the show. At that moment, I thought those who you were talking to constantly would have said, look, the Keff went to him and said, look, let us meet. We can't be like this. We are divided. I even called Rebranding. I said, look, I'll blow you on spoon. Right? What's happening right now? You're the only lady. Try to put the guys together instead of taking hands-off approach. It's not. It's going to get worse. And I told her, and she said, and she was like, no interest to show that she will put the guys together. As a lady would say, look, I'm your sister. I'll bring your guys together. But it didn't happen. So when the next morning I got up, I found myself out of the chat room. I wasn't getting linked no more. So I knew what you are one way out. So I said, look, guys, stay with us. I said, Keff, you go on the show now, you undermine us because let us stand by each other. When our time came that he wanted to take it off the show, we stood by you. That really thing, that'd be friend. You don't go on that show until all the guys go on the show together. They push for that. But apparently, the divine conquer was working. That divine thing, bringing division amongst us. And so, when he came on the show, after Keff gave the dagger to him and saying, look, I'm done. I'm not going to come if the guy's not coming. He came on the show on Friday and said, oh, Peabody and Tony, come on. After you said you are taking off the chat room, you have already said that we're not coming back on the show. Then you come and said the public say we're coming back on the show and then coming back. Come on, man. Come on, guys.
And at this time, Josh, did he ask all of you to come by even after the resignation that you guys wrote?
No, let me tell you something, Mr. Sia. Stoner is one guy who will not tell you sorry. He wrong, he will tell you sorry. And even with this case on, you would think Stoner was showing a post where to show some, okay, showing some remorse or showing something, but I was surprised in meetings. Stoner will be the same person. He'll be blasting a band and coming after this person. I said, I thought during this moment, this guy would be calm and focused. Every morning I'll text the guy. My man, we are in touch and prayers with you. People who can get to him will say.
And you think what is responsible for that behavior you're talking about?
I don't know, but funny. I mean, there's a guy who he won't tell you sorry. Sometimes you go on a show when we have a show that we're not uncomfortable with, we'll tell you in the background. Like give you an example. During the issue of the CPP document, when he said, "Come and figure out the document," I said, "Man, you can't say that. You can't pass judgment. You can't pass judgment on this case. That's not one place to pass judgment. They will discuss the issues, and the public can make their own analysis. They can do the code of public opinion, but you can't come pass judgment. So now when the show, when he go after a certain person, we're not doing the show because sometimes you try on the show, you embarrass you on the show. He will try to shut you down. Okay, and then last thing too, while all this was going on, I would say, look, step aside. You can still look for the public perception and uptake. You come and say, look, because of what's happening now, I'm stepping aside, and XYZ, maybe the lady in Liberia will act as CEO. But you can still be in the background, still playing your little role there, but you're not, but just for the public perception to say, look, you guys at least the CEO step aside. Because every day on the show, when you make a post on your personal page, they put top of the CEO, we're going through all this stuff. So we have to say, look, step aside. But
so to this point, Stanton is still the CEO of all his complaints.
Of course. Okay, that was the thing too. You say, look, be that way so that we can make progress, so we can get the show going. And because when I try to get guests, you tell me now, oh man, you're going to talk about the issue. We come on your show. We're not going to come because you don't get credibility. I'm going to throw it in my faces,
And Dennis, there's this thing we heard that Stanton has stopped you, the panelists, from going on any other platform. That's one I want to know whether that is true. And sometime back when you guys went to Liberia and made that trip, you all promised a report. From what I listened to all of you on the show that day. Has that report been made? And finally, I'm one of those who accuse you people of buying views, and I want to be kept honest here too, and keeping you honest as well. Do you guys buy views, or do you know of any buying views on Spoon? Because this is about accountability. You guys are holding politicians and political actors by their neck.
Well, you just made a statement. You talk about who has the money and who does what. Nobody. I don't know about what they call buying views. I really don't. I don't know what it's like. I don't know who does it. We don't do that. I don't know. I just come on the show and
that's what I'm saying. We come on the show. And let me address the issue about whether we can't adhere on any platform. I know he never told me that. I've called on several platforms since I've been on Spoon Talk. The problem I have, let me tell you one of the reasons why we don't go on other platforms is because it's exhausting. I mean, we were doing this thing every single day. And it's just, at least y'all get a chance to take a break. Y'all do your, I mean, which is your editorial decision, right? But it's by the time you finish doing 3 hours, and sometimes our show, sometimes it's never structured as far as time. We'll sit there for like 3-4 hours, depending on what we are discussing.
Right.
But many times I've called on Lofa Julia's show, I've called on George Lobo's show. Many times I think I've called on your show 1 or 2 times. Now, the question is, well, he never told me. I didn't sign any contract to say you can count on no show. Now, yes, sometimes he would laugh and say, "Oh my man, you don't go on this place," or you don't go. But come on, it's just like I say, boys talk. Sometimes we laugh and we take it from there. On the issue of the report from Liberia, look, let me say this, and I think a lot of people, and it comes with the territory, right? When you get to that certain level. You said, and I do remember us saying we gave a full report on the video, and a lot of people only hopped on the fact that they said, why we didn't report and what was discussed with President Weah, right? Because that was the most important. Until we met President Weah, nobody had interest in that visit until President Weah came and sat down with us for about a couple of hours. So people wanted to know, and there was all this conspiracy theory out there that we had gotten money and stuff like that. The truth of the matter is we had a very frank and casual conversation with the president. It was a mixture of social, political, personal. It was like a relaxed environment.
Right. So but the report was never given. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, maybe we should not have said we would issue a written report, or maybe we should not have said we would issue a report. But it was just one of those things where we just said, we will issue the reports. But that's it. But that's that's what happened.
Thank you. We want to open our phone lines at least 30 seconds each for the callers because time is fast spent. But Mr. George, let me come to you. Another thing that we're hearing is, did you at any point engage or have any confrontation with your co-panelist, Dr. Francine, or his family, and you were issuing some threats of saying all kinds of things that I even can't say here? What was that like?
I think it was on Thursday or so. I at that time, right? At that time, he had said that Peabody and I was off the show. We're not going to go back. So, and I was dealing with Ben. I brought Francine on. I brought the spoon, right? When we were a lady, I went after and brought her. So I called her. I said, Regis, what's happening right now? It's not fair. So, but I see you still hosting the show. It's not fair I think the roles should be playing other roles that try to stabilize and show that all the guys are on the show on the same page. But you keep coming to the show, it's like you undermine or you betray us because we should be in one accord. But you keep going to the show. I mean, and I have a problem with that because now I believe you guys are comfortable with it because that's what you see happening. Peabody and I have been thrown out of the chat room. We're not getting them a link. Okay, Ben said he's not coming because we're not there. And Keff, only between she and Keff now. Keff are trying to make peace. Keff are trying to stay negotiate to say, look, let us come together. Let's come together. So I told her that, and I didn't stop there. I told a message to her husband. I said, look, try to discourage the original coming on the show because they're where we are right now. I called one of her best friends. I said, you have to get them, put pressure on her. So at the end of the day, she was saying, something. Either all the guys come back, or then we stay. Just being solidarity with us because.
Did you threaten her in any way?
Yeah, well, no threat, nothing.
All right.
But let me just clarify something, right? I know some people taking it wrong here. I did not say the FBI got Mr. Cummings' passport. Let me make it clear. I did not say so. So they're carrying it wrong. That's a lie. I did not say so. So you're starting that misleading. And one thing too, because in a political season, you hear people with different views. Those who ain't in like we are, they will defend Stanton. Those who ain't like the person will defend another person. That's what happened. But I want to let you guys know, I really don't care how you feel and think about me. Trust me.
Thank you. And callers, please stop calling my phone. Personally, I'm using this to log in. So at this time, we open our phone line. There are so many callers. So callers, if you call, 30 seconds should be enough, and you should be able to make your point quickly. First caller, your name and where you calling from quickly.
Yeah, Mr. Jazz, Elvis calling from Minnesota. Hello to the guys. And thanks for coming on the platform. I just want to say, I think it's clear to most of us who are watching you tonight that Stanton never saw you guys as a partner, but more as an employee, and he treated you as such. And then secondly to Mr. Ben Sanvee, I mean, when I was 2 years ago, when I was on Facebook, active on Facebook, your political poster for running for senator in Monserrate was one of the things that even encouraged me to get into following Liberian politics because you were young. I thought you was a vibrant candidate. So what happened with your political career? Because I thought you had a bright career, political future in Liberia. Are you still contemplating on going back and maybe furthering your career in politics?
I
have no question, but I'll get off the line quickly.
Thank you. Let's go to Benjamin Jonah. Benjamin, you have 35 seconds. Quickly, please.
Oh, 40 seconds. Well, I want to thank you guys for being very brave, for leading that criminal defendant, Stanton Waterspoon. The guy, he did not respect these people, and he shows no remorse. But, guys, there was something that the Frenchman said, and she said you guys are trying to blackmail her. So if there's something that we don't know that you guys are trying to do to this lady, please address that issue. I will be very happy to hear what you guys have to say about that blackmail issue.
Thank you. Pape Flomo, quickly. And
yes. Thanks for having me, and I'm going to make it very short. I think Stanton, you see, I've taken some beating for Stanton because I've always defended him. The same way I defended Michael because there's no evidence against Michael. They have not taken Michael to any court of competent jurisdiction when he's guilty. In the same way, as Stanton have not been taken to any court of competent jurisdiction, so they should start saying, Stanton should go to judicial criminal. I've always defended it, and my friends have gone after me. But I think this one, Stanton crossed the line. I think you should call the guys and apologize. The guys are only helping him. It happens everywhere. Even if you are the founder of an organization and there's a sex scandal, there's a money scandal, there's any scandal, they step aside and let the other guys run the show, and then when that case is simmered, then you can come back. I think he did the guys wrong. He should apologize to them, and then I don't know if the guys will go back, but my brother Spencer, you're wrong on this one. I'm not going to defend you on this one. You are wrong. I think Spencer is an arrogant individual, and he's over his head because he's got money. I think that's what I'm going to say. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Let's go to Kesali Double. And gentlemen, please take notes. Let me quickly take Kesali Double. And please, if you are calling me directly, please stop calling me. You are disturbing me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jai, and let me say good evening to everyone on panel. On an issue that has to do further with buying views, that is true. I can attest to it because myself, I didn't believe it until one time when the United Party chairman appeared on the show. I was watching the show, the view was somewhere around 700, 800. Stanton went behind the scene when he came back on in less than 2 minutes. The view went to 3,500. And that 3,500 remained constant for over an hour. We were watching our platform and nobody didn't want to please, nobody dropped off. We were just there. That I want to believe how they can buy you.
Thank you.
You see the reason why let me just learn on this one, please, Mr. Jai. You guys always accuse politicians. Every time one politician make this decision, they will come and say, why he didn't do this one? When he does this one, they complain why he didn't do this one. Now it is in their shoe now, yet they're complaining. When we have resigned, people will complain. Now we didn't resign, people complain. This is where it is. So I mean, you guys are seeing what the politicians go through. Now you are tasting the gravy of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sarah Sine, please let's do it under 1 minute. Sarah Sine, go ahead quickly.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Dennis, for the opportunity. So quickly, for me, I think the guys, did the right thing to resign because friendship is not about my own personal character. So once my character is at stake, I give it, a chance and let the issue go. I think they did well for them to resign. With respect to, the wrangling between them, that's one side of the story. But this is my last comment that I want to make. So when we discuss the issue about country and use the word, true. Sometimes, I find it difficult for people who support these political parties when they are on a platform for them to say, oh, this is the truth, and they know very well in actual fact that is not the truth. So, they're going through their issues, but I think they did the right thing for them to resign because that platform tends to promote truth, as they call it. So when something has to do with corruption is being linked to that platform,
Thank
the
you.
right thing to do is to recuse yourself so that your character can be, preserved. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. 934 area code. You are live. Go ahead. Your name, please.
Thank you. My name is Michael. I call from Minnesota. Listening to these guys tonight, a few days ago, listening to Mr. Farkan, I think these guys have good intentions. I think maybe the delivery was a little bit poor, and then the CEO interpreted it differently. And some of the people were talking, sticking news on the other side, all the kind of things. You can be a CEO and step aside. These guys have no intention of taking this man property. All of the documentation in his name. Just step aside, take care of the court case, and let's roll the show. I personally said that Center or giving them somebody money to be transferring it. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
these guys, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. We have over like 40 callers. We just want to make it very quickly here. Let's, Darling Warwood. Go ahead, darling. You don't even have to tell me hello. Just go ahead.
All right. So I want to highlight two things tonight. These guys in studio guests, they told us, they put out a statement yesterday about mention that they are resigning, because they are resigned from the social. And tonight they are telling us that certain writers who had earlier fired them from the show. So we wanted to withdraw that statement and say that they were fired. Because they were fired before they put out the statement. We just got it tonight. So it's not only something that is lying, that the president of the US government asked Keff to resign. So they told a lie that they resigned. They did not resign, they were fired. Let's get that straight.
Thank you. GS Camo, your 30 seconds, please.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, just go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Tomalin, this is GS. Look, my question is, I got this show live. I mean, I came on late, so I don't know if you said it, but my question to the guys there is that for the statement I heard for Tomalin that they all wanted to be on the same party that Francine on mine, they came on. I just want to know if whether it is true that there are some internal wrangling and they are threatening to blackmail Dr. Francine, because in Liberia, when two parties make plan, then all the secrets can come up.
Yeah.
So is it a time of the secret to come up? Because all of these things they are saying, we are now heard in the past of Central being arrogant and controlling and all those things. So that's my question to the guy.
Thank you.
Secondly, I wanted to ask 1 minute. I want to ask if they wanted the show to stop when the whole thing came out, because they were not coming on. They wanted the show to stop, and then until they can come to them and come to an agreement for them to come back on the show. And if they have beneficial intent to have their own show,
right?
For them.
Thank you.
The department call and they're asking to vacate the show.
Thank you. We have so many callers. I think I will take 5 more. And gentlemen, please mark down the one that have to do with blackmailing Dr. Francine. I want you to address that quickly. Patrick Johnson, go ahead.
All right, thank you. I got 2 points. My first one is has to do with the joint resignation. Why it was not individually done. It was done by group of you guys together, because that sent a wrong message that is a sign of plot. Right. Then the next one, Keff said there was no conversation between he and the CEO about the president. But later on, he said that he called the CEO. Can he little bit elaborate on that a little more?
Thank you, Patrick. In Minneapolis, 612 area code, quickly.
Yes, I have the question I have has to do with the policy. What if the panelists have the written policy in the beginning of the show that they will follow should an emergency occur? Based on what is happening right now and what Ben just explained, saying that they wanted the platform names to be changed. Will that bring credibility back to the show, even after the panelists failed to discuss the initial arrest of the CEO? So the mistakes here were made in the beginning. I thought that the best thing the panelists should have done was to ask the CEO to recuse himself, but in the meantime to continue doing what it's supposed to do. So thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to Larama Yonton. Mr. Yonton, 30 seconds. Larama is not paying attention. Dr. Batumkula, go ahead.
Gentlemen, stand strong. Everything you guys said, you just solidified what I had known about Stanton all along. The guy's a narcissistic, manipulative, control freak. You guys did nothing by leaving. You had no obligation to stay, and even just stay 30 days too long. But people, and what is pushing his family's head is that you guys somehow wanted to steal his show, and that the government of Liberia was trying to make y'all steal his show. How could y'all steal a show by rebranding? Please explain that to Liberians, the difference between rebranding and owning a show. Thank you.
Thank you. The next caller here, Lawrence Yanni.
Yeah, my name is Lawrence Yanni. I first want to know if it is true that Keff Hassan graduated from this nursing school. And secondly, they spoke earlier today and said that their resignation has not been based on the indictment. It was until when Dr. Peabody came out now that he was black before. But if every one of them has come to the conclusion that they have resigned because of the indictment, why couldn't they wait until after the case? Then lastly, you have agreed to work for years with a polluter system, making $800 per month.
Why you say it's polluted?
Maybe the case will go that way. People might be wrong. Carry on the fraudulent act to build up this institution. When it comes that way, and Senator is guilty, what will you guys say? Ignorance of the law is not a section. So what have you to say about this? Then what have you to finally say about this case? Do you think Senator is wrong or Senator is right? You've been following the whole saga. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Gregman Gagwa Jr., go ahead. You have 39 seconds, please.
Thank you, sir. Two things I'm going to say. Look, Ben, Tomalin, Keff, Dr. Peabody, the strength and courage to come out and speak your truth is commendable. Let me say this. The professional thing to do under these circumstances when you are indicted is to step aside. Stanton or no one else who claims to be a professional should be told to do what's right. That's one. Two, people talked about betrayal, and there's something fundamentally wrong with our mindset. The true betrayal here is when you have such an illegal and dangerous operation running, as has been alleged by the federal government indictment, but lack the decency and simple courtesy to inform these people who will do anything to defend you, who have traveled with you under false pretense, is more dangerous of a betrayer than anything else. So I will come on the show tomorrow or some other time to really expand on these things. But you guys, I want you to know that you did nothing wrong. The courage. Don't worry about what people is going to say about you.
Thank you.
Worry about what you did right and how you're going to be judged later on. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Let's go to Moses Sandy. I'm so afraid I can't exhaust the calls. I mean, they're just endless. Mr. Sandy, 30 seconds, please.
Yes, thank you, Dennis. I just want to say that I applaud the action taken by my friend and brother Tomalin George and his colleagues in calling him a quit. I'm one of the first individuals. If you read the article Spoon Talk credibility dampened. And the Liberian journalists that raised the issue that Mr. Witherspoon's name has become a distraction to Spoon Talk. In our article, I asked that he step aside because it is hypocritical for Spoon Talk to bring in individuals to discuss contemporary issues in Liberia, holding people accountable on issues of corruption, at the same time shy away from Mr. Witherspoon's current situation in the United States. Because from when the story broke, Spoon Talk never reported that. And as a media entity, as a CEO, holding others accountable, he was also under similar obligation. The people needed to know what was happening, but that didn't happen. So I applaud the guys. They didn't do anything wrong. They didn't betray me. And I think that that is what we need to do in our community. So Spoon must be held accountable like any other person. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me take this one caller now, then I go back to our panelists. We still have 35 to go. So call up with 267 area code, your name, please, and go ahead.
Well, this is Ashford Garland.
Go ahead, Mr. Gali, the giant.
Well, again, I just want to apologize to the Liberian people. I brought in trouble on all of you. Still with being a lesson school. I said, my man, radio is powerful. I do radio business. And when we got into the business, I said, Ashford, I'll give you 30% 15 days. I'll buy a ticket, go out there. I said, okay, when I buy the ticket, I'll find my own car to drive and get my own place to stay. I worked hard, took a motel for $25, built the platform from the ground up. I went for 2 weeks. I invested 2 months in Liberia. Just after the inauguration, only the family that they bought is so wicked and greedy, arrogant, narcissistic human being. He wants everything for himself. And for Eugene Fangon to come out to say, I'm letting in Liberian people to go above. I never met Eugene Fangon in my whole life. We only spoke on the phone. When I told Fangon I was in Liberia, it's 2020. I established Spoon long before Fangon got appointed to the government. So he lied on my name. And guys, take courage. Take courage. You guys got patient. I couldn't stay on with Sterling for 3 years. That's why I left. And up to today, Sterling would call my name until God calls him. Because with God above, I made that little boy. But his own arrogance got him to where he's at today. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me go back to our panelists. Mr. Sia, we still have like 35 callers. I don't think we'll ever exhaust them. So the first question I want you to address is this issue of blackmailing Dr. Francine, your fellow panelist.
Who's going?
I think I don't think anybody will do that. I personally know Dr. Francine. I know her husband. We are very good friends. And I don't think anybody on this panel should even try to do that. That will be bad. I think it's false and misleading. No one will do that. We don't have problem with Dr. Richardson. It is her prerogative to leave or stay, just how some of us took that muster the courage to do it. And I think that's just false and misleading. And that's what we're talking about, dividing panelists and bringing confusion among them. But I don't think anyone would do that. I personally would never do that. And if any of my colleagues here plan to do that, I'll tell them that's nonsense. Do not do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Quickly, let me take Tavina Cole. We have one female calling at least. Tavina, go ahead. Tavina, are you there? All right. Tavina is not ready there.
So let me.
Can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Very interesting topic. Well, I didn't want to call, but as I listened to the show, this just reminded me about a woman being in an abusive relationship. you're being abused. You just took the abuse for so many years, and one day you just muster the courage to just get out of the abusive relationship. And so that's how it's been. Everybody I kind of know the guys. So I'm closer to them than the other. But it took a long time for them to come to this point. But I applaud them for coming to this point. The people that putting in traitors and betrayers, they don't know the inside story. But people who know since a long time ago, these guys have been with them. They know Stanton's personality. If they know to choose Stanton other than him being a giver, they won't be calling these guys traitor, because these guys they took the bullets for Stanton. They have been there for him. So I applaud them. I applaud them for speaking up, and they need to pick out the broken pieces and keep moving. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. So guys, let me start with Kev. What's your next step? Are you picking up the broken pieces to keep moving? What you do next? Or are you going to start your own network?
I just want our fans out there, Liberian people, to know that stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Kafico, the guys.
I didn't hear the man. Well, Ben, you laughing? What?
Sorry.
Yeah, I said I just want to let our fans and everybody know how to stay tuned. You're going to see something coming up bigger. Stay tuned. Very soon. Very, very soon.
Tomalin, stay tuned for what? Where you go from here?
Let me just repeat something. No one blackmailed that Richardson, and no one ever had the intention to blackmail that Richardson. Like I said, I was the one who brought it to Spoon, and I thought we had a good relationship. And I said, I tried to say, look, let us try to, instead of, but perhaps if you stay away and say, look, until we come together, maybe we wouldn't have been to this place, perhaps. Okay, but she stayed away, and it was up to her. Nobody blackmailed her. So whoever taking this stuff about blackmailing, they're trying to put their own spin on it. So nobody blackmailed no one, and let's get it clear. And also about the next step, definitely. You know something? One thing I like, look, one thing I would say though, one of the good things about Spoon that I would say that today, no matter what anybody can say, they can cause all kind of names, but it's up to them. At least whenever I go anywhere, I'm recognized there.
Yeah.
Yes. Some of them are criticizing her because somebody they won't even know you there. You can make all your writing about write your crap if for nothing. But when I went to the Sawyer program on Saturday. When I got there, what came to me, Georgie? Yes. And it will continue to go. I will excel because I stand by whatever we did. It was done by our dictate of our conscience, and we did it in the best interest of our own personal lives and our families too. So whatever they can say, write your crap, I don't care. But I can tell you that Mr. Job will be back. And this election, we are going to have a platform that will discuss the narratives and the election and so forth. People will come on board and come and express themselves freely without somebody muting you, somebody taking you off the platform, or somebody trying to micromanage you. We'll have a platform that will be free, and everyone will come on the platform. We'll respect our guests. We'll not convict anybody on our platform for anything. We'll give them a chance to express themselves and propagate their messages. But we'll be back.
Are you implying that what Spoon was doing?
You will not put anybody in the back room for 1 hour waiting. I remember Mariah Yakula was crying the other day that she in the back room for 1 hour.
We have a platform that will be free. You can come, you can be whoever you come from, whether opposition, no position, the government, anywhere you come, express yourself, and we'll grill you, but we'll not pass judgment on you.
Thank you. And Prince Williams, quickly, 30 seconds.
Thank you, Dan. This is Prince Williams. I have a question for Tomalin. Tomalin did mention that an employee of the Department of Homeland Security met him and showed him some sensitive document, passport of Stanton and passport of Alexander Cummings. I just want to ask Tomalin, are you an informant? Were you then solicited to give information? If not, then that employee is in violation of the Homeland Security Charter that deals with sensitive information based on classification. Will you be willing to and reveal who that individual is if a formal complaint is filed against that individual based on the information you just given? Thank you very much.
Thank you. And another question there is, what if Spoon or Witherspoon was not indicted? Will you guys be in this position?
I want to answer that question because I saw
Yeah.
you highlight it. First of all, everyone is deemed innocent until proven guilty. We believe in the justice system of this country. That's one of the reasons why we continue to say that this is not about neglecting Stanton in his hour of need. This is purely a decision regarding the running off the platform.
But the indictment have anything to do with it?
I wouldn't say so. Let me say, okay, let's say the indictment gave rise to the fact that we wanted him to take a step back. So maybe that's the role it played, right? But on the issue of his indictment, we had no part to play in it. Like I say, we were shocked as you were. And I continue to say this, and it was stated in our statement. We wish Stanton and his family well, but we're also cognizant of the magnitude of the crimes he's been accused of, because there are lives and families that are attached to the crimes, and the victims, they are victims also. So we're not going to downplay it, but we want to make it very clear. The question is hypothetical, but I will state.
But Ben, if I may, why
his day in court?
Ben, if I may, I want you to land on this, please. You talk about the magnitude of the case, you know, and I'm happy that you know the severity of this case. I mean, why wouldn't that be significant enough for you to make a decision when we are looking at accountability, the right thing to do when somebody is accused? But you are saying, well, you know, it just influenced it, but it's not the main reason. Why you think it's not enough for you to have resigned?
Let me tell you why. Because again, he is entitled to his day in court. If he had done the right thing, which we had asked him to do, there's no reason why. I gave you the example of Roger Ailes. I gave you the example of other folks who have been indicted for crimes. When they resign from the entities, everybody don't resign from the entity. The entities don't close down. They get their day in court. And we believe Stanton deserves his day in court. He has pled not guilty. Whatever the decision is going to be, we're going to wait and we're going to watch and see how the justice system plays out, because we have confidence in the justice system of this country.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I know we have so many callers, and callers, we apologize. These guys will be on a couple of other platforms after here, and we'll continue to tell their story.
You got the first.
I'm very sorry. We can't keep this the calling going forever, and some are calling and full. We apologize. We can't just do all this. Well, so at this time, all of you that have been with Mr. Witherspoon, another hypothetical question: will any of you be able to testify if you are called upon against your friend?
No,
we're not part of the indictment. So what? You know, imagine that. But Mr. Ja, you know, again, too, some people say, because they say the guys and they might call them, they might do this to us. You know, so we're not part of something. But all we can say, look, that's why you see, we try not to go in the merits of the case, whatever the case. We wishing the best, you know, thoughts and prayers, but we're not going to get involved. Like, you know, talking. We don't. You know, we don't talk about it on social media. We don't mention it either.
Sure.
And some of the people, some of the people who making all the noise, they too benefit from. I mean, you know, Mr. John, let me say this. I tend to be the one that a lot of people love to hate. I get a lot of hate. I mean, I not see names they call me.
You've been in politics long, Ben. That's why.
Yeah, so that's what they don't get, Mr. Ja. You know, I think you know me well. They don't understand that I'm built for this. None of these things move me. I just got in the country today. I was on vacation, watching and laughing at these people. Because at the end of the day, for me, like I say, I'll repeat what a friend of mine told me. He said, once your conscience is clear, you go to bed sound and sleep. People, opinions are like noses. Everybody got one. We all got our opinions. And people should have their respective opinions. And I respect it. At the end of the day, we know what we are. We know what we brought to the platform. And I remind people, Everybody who let to worry about what I do, how I do, you call me any, you take your time to write these things. I look at it, I laugh, and we keep moving. But like you said, Mr. Ja, I've been in this game long enough to know that when you put yourself in this space, people have a right to be able to opine. But I always like to end and say, there are 5-point-something million Liberians. Once we get the census number, we'll also know there are 5-point-something plus million Liberians. A few hundred people commenting on Facebook about me. I mean, I'm humbled. I'm humbled that they find it very, 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 very curious. They find my life very interesting to be able to comment about it. But I'm extremely humbled about that.
And Ben, to be honest, the one I saw about you, they say, Ben dropped the spoon.
Can you guys see
me? Drop the spoon. Oh no, I thought you were going to talk about the you know the Kekurakodo. You know the thing that makes me laugh about the Kekurakodo analysis? They say Kekurakodo. They say people must hang their clothes where the sun shines. So I ask the question all the time: when you wash your clothes, where do you hang it?
I know.
When you in your house, Mr. Ja, when you in your house and you use your laundromat, when you finish washing your in the washer, do you take the clothes and put it back in the washer? Don't you put it in the dryer? So I mean, it's all fun and game. But I love these people. I do.
Thank you, Mr. Sia. If you have any final question, then we can go to the question.
And they are calling you the modern day Kekurakodo and all that. Gentlemen, this is my final question to you. In all honesty, you guys became big, and no one can dismiss that. I heard from Ben that you guys were proud to have had this space to contribute to Liberia. And so that way I'm directing my question. If anything you think you achieve as Spoon Talk, what do you think that is?
Wow.
Well, I'll start first, and then Ben, the rest can go. Let me say that when we started, God could bless anybody. As I said, most of the guys on the show were people of very caring and giving heart. There are a lot of people who benefited. Kids went to India and other countries that we were able to raise money on the Spoon Talk to help them help pay medical bills. There are kids who benefited every Sunday, sometimes $10, $20. We gave them when they call in and answer a question, even if they did not. As I said, look, Stanton is a very generous man. He may be in his trouble today, but he gave a lot. Even some of the people who are writing and criticizing, you better be quiet, because we know some of the area that he gave money to. So don't
call names, people.
No, we're not going to do it, but don't trigger it before we say it, because we know some of the people that benefited a lot. So just be quiet and stop saying. But let me say that a lot of people, we were able to bring news that people wouldn't have brought. We were able to identify people, people got assistance for making businesses, and they got help. Tim gave a lot to help people. I give him credit for that, and I think we achieved a lot, because, one of the most honorable thing that happened to me when I went to Liberia, I don't care what people think, to have the president of the nation come and visit, that was historical for me. No president sat down with me to have lunch before. That was very historical. It will go with me to my grave. I still tell my kids here in America that I had the opportunity to have lunch with the president of Liberia. And that was when, it was honorable, historical, but I think we brought a lot of information to the people of Liberia. We helped them. Parents today can see their children walking again because of some of the funds that we raised. People from dialysis and other issues that they had. We raised thousands of dollars. Some were giving $500. I remember one time the entire platform gave $500 each to help people, other people help. So other than that, we did a good thing. We did very well. And I'd say I continue to pray for Stanton. My prayers and thoughts and best wishes are with him.
And in addition to that question, I know one of Kev wanted to answer to. In addition, if there was anything that you want to change about Spoon or your own role and involvement, what would that be?
Well, Well, let me say that. Well, now I can't change anything from Spoon because I was
kicked out.
I was driven, I was blocked, and until I had to resign, you know. So there's really nothing I can change. But if I was still on Spoon, as I said, I would like to rebrand it. I would like to talk. I mean, because everybody call about the moral compass, integrity. You know, I will also share. Even if I was in a problem today, I will share. Look, I had a problem, and you know, I will be stepping aside. You know, because we hit on other people. We went far for people. There were times that people were called rogues, people were called criminal on that show, and that some people life got in complete mess when this show went after them, you know, and people were hurt, people were destroyed sometimes from this show. So I think we should have stand up and also talk about what happened, you know, and we couldn't change that because we didn't have the opportunity, we didn't control the buttons. We were just there to talk, and sometimes we were limited from what we could say because we did not control the buttons and all of that.
Right. And so, Tomalin, the same question, but because you were operating in kind of friendship, probably there were no policies written down, there were no structure. You know, you didn't really have, if this happened, this is the fallback plan. If we have this disagreement, this is the way to resolve it. You didn't have things like that.
Yes, and I will tell you the truth though. I think we along the way, because we just took it to be like we're so close, I think we let our guys down there. I think we should
You
have
see that as a mistake?
yes, I think it was a mistake that we never have all to checkmate one another. So, but I think, and because we, like Ben said earlier, we're just taking it, we're so close, and as a result of it, you know. But I think going forward,
Gentlemen, you were running Liberia, biggest media institution, and you see yourself leaders, and you didn't see that to some extent. You were the fit, because if any diplomat went to Liberia, they'll be watching Spoon, and
it's
you
true.
have no structure whatsoever.
But see, there's no doubt. Spoon talk. We had it. We made it Liberian landscape. We took control of it. It's true, no doubt about it. And everyone had their own gifts. Okay, we came to, and that's what reason why. Like I know, somebody said, look, stand out brought most of you guys together, knowing some of you what you guys do before. Like I'm a founding member of CDC, and we came in the limelight through our party, CDC, so forth. People knew us, and Ben to Peabody and Keff, everybody came about. So no doubt about that. But a mistake we made, I think, like you said earlier, we should. This is why you don't when you're doing this stuff, you don't allow friendship to take control of it too much, and then because there will become a day like this today. And so going forward, other platforms can learn from us that we will have this thing in check, learn from this, take a cue from this, and even in our future endeavors, we can definitely make sure we take a cue from this, what happened, and to make it better, so that we cannot fall in the same thing like what happened today.
Thank you. Continue to watch Focus on Liberia. Every Friday is the literary hour at 6 p.m. Every Saturday is the Liberia History Channel at 7 p.m. And every Tuesday we have Abby Tyler's Healthy Living, and it comes on at 7 p.m. This Tuesday, Abby will be having a cardiologist as guest, and they'll be talking about your heart with the cardiologist. Please don't miss it. We have all other shows. Mr. Anthony Sia here is the host of the Hour of Politics. If you are a politician and you can sit and interview with Anthony and you pass, you're good. Gentlemen, we'll go around the room for your closing.
That's not a guarantee that you'll win the elections, though.
and Kev, before we close, let me ask you, I mean, this whole idea, you were closer to the CEO, Mr. Witherspoon, you said, than any other person. If there were anything about your CEO that you want to change, what would that be?
Well, one of the things that I spoke to him about is about this a plot or kind of going against the government on some of the things, and that it was untrue, that I spoke to him behind closed door, and he said to me, I will effing the government. And some of the things that I said to him, it's not right. You know, the information that you putting out is not true. You should not do it. and he said, I will effing the government. So we spoke on those things. I wish he could have listened to me. We had a bitter argument, and I told him, don't do it. It's not right. It's false. Some of the document and things that he put forward are not real. And I told him that don't do it. It will undermine our platform. And he keeps saying to me, I will effing y'all. And yes, so.
Final question. Your friend Stanton repeatedly said this coming election, he will take a side. He will pour his money behind a candidate. He will go everywhere. Did he confide in any of you with that candidate, you're thinking about? And would that happen now with all this?
Well, he does have who he wants to put his hand behind. And that's why he was trying to F in the government. He does have his side, and I know that. He does have his
Thank
side.
you. Thank you. We should also remind you every Friday we have our Friday night debate. Every sorry about that. Not you guys.
Then I think it's not in there.
You want us to come back, eh?
All right, please come back. And then every Thursday at 7, we have Tough Talking Thursday. You don't want to miss that. And you guys will welcome you back. Let's today was the first, so many grounds to cover. But come back and let's do some specifics. At this time, I want to go around the room now and get your closing comments. There were a lot of, I don't know if you believe that you have moved the needle. There were a lot of comments against you, calling you, betrayer, dropping the spoon after the race finished, Kakurak Boto and all that. Now that we've had it show, you have the opportunity to be heard. What you make of it? And so let's conclude what you make of this whole thing, where you go from here. And going forward, what's your relationship with your colleagues at Spoon, including the boss? Ben, you go first.
Oh, I can go first? Okay, sorry. Yeah. I was trying to. So listen, I've always believed, first of all, there will be people who will form their opinions. They will say what they want to say. They will believe what they want to believe. I have no energy in my body to, give those people any credence. There are people who are stuck in their mindset. And some is because it's political, right? If even me, some of the people, most of the people who go after me is people who feel that I'm not supporting their side, which is fine. Like I say, it's a humbling experience. It's a humbling feeling to know that, they take me that serious to believe that I should be on their side. But on the issue of how do I feel if the needle was moved, I do believe it was. I think telling our truth was important. There was a legitimate argument. There was a legitimate point that because the press statement just said internal disagreement, right? That there was something hanging out there, and we needed to come and explain what that internal disagreement was. And so that's what we tried to do here. Like you rightly said, we've made it our duty. And let me also state, we had no intention of making this a big deal. This could have been a very easy and a simple. This could have been a very simple breakup, if you won't call it that way, where you guys disagree on the way forward, and you say, hey, these things do happen. People start journeys together; they don't end journeys together, But then when you have people, I like to call counter vote barkers out there spewing out crazy conspiracy theories, then you have to come, because we do live in a gullible society. Some of the people who claim to be educated are gullible because they tend to believe what they want to believe, and it's stuck in their mind. So it was important for us to come out and say the things that we said here today. Again, I reiterate, this was not a situation of trying to attack someone or do. All we were trying to do was to tell our truth, because we are public figures, and people do. I mean, look at the amount of people that's watching us tonight. So there is a lot of interest in. They wanted to hear what what we had to say. So I would say, look, I'm grateful that we got a chance, Mr. C. Mr. Sia and Mr. Ja. I want to thank you personally for your level of professionalism and your outreach to us, for giving us an opportunity to be heard. And like the guy said, knowing us, stay tuned. You know, there's just so much that has happened in the last 48 hours that my mind is blown, because I'm like, wow, you know, there, as much as there's a lot of hate and haters out there, there are a lot of supporters. I mean, I was really, really, really humbled. So I want to thank you, and this is not going to be the last you see of these faces, plus more. I can say that.
Thank you, Mr. Hassan. Your closing comments, sir.
Thank you, Mr. John, for bringing us on. A lot of people out there talking about betrayal. I saw it on Facebook. Some people in inbox. I wish Liberian will always try to ask questions versus making statement or comment. And that is the problem wrong with that nation called Liberia. They just come up with something and they say betrayal, not knowing what happened in the back. I serve as a mediator for our guys. I convinced them. I spoke with them. I talked to them. You know, for example, when my friend Stanton Witherspoon said to me, you know, let's talk with Ben. And I called Ben. I said, it looked like, you know, things were settled. I said, so let's talk down. We'll talk to the guys, and then we'll have the three-way meeting. Something else, and he said, okay, Ben, you and Keff, I don't want these other two guys. And I said, you know what? I don't have anything to say again. I just say, wow. You know, so I try to put things together. And we try for us to move in a different direction. And, you know, I try for us to move in a different direction, meaning that we can rebrand the show in a sense of not being on the show that we will not have a strength where we would come from, because when you watch Spoon is all about attack. But when you attack and Anthony Sear, and then he would come back and say, who are you? Your hands not clean. What are you trying to tell me? And we saying, no, we will deal with our own. We had the Isaac Doe situation we dealt with. And I remember Ben said it in our meeting. He said, Stanton, if this situation were anybody else, you will lead the charge for that person to be out. We should not do this. We should not preach this to the Liberian people. The Liberian people calling on us. So we gotta be straight. And to do that, then we have to rebrand the show. So for me, I realized that taking the guys out and bringing other people in who will come there and say certain things and will bring more attention to the platform, it's not a place for me anymore. I can do that. I can be in a place where that we're forgetting about our own, and then we continue to let's talk about other people. We are not immune.
Thank you.
And I repeat, we are not immune to our problem. But let me say one thing. A lot of people, I will clear the air today. A lot of people are saying, if I went to Stanton School, no. I graduated from nursing school April 19, 2009. I never went to, matter of fact, I never went, in my whole life, I've never been to Florida. I love to go to Florida, but I've never been to Florida. So I never graduated from Stanton School. No, never.
Oh, you are practicing nurse. I didn't know that.
I'm not. I never. I graduated April 19, 2009. I went to school in DC. So I never went to. I never went to Stanton School. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Peabody. Your closing comments, sir.
Well, Dennis and Mr. Sear, good to see you. And thank you for having us on tonight. Look, man, my prayers, my thoughts, and my best wishes are with Mr. Witherspoon. No one will rejoice when one has a problem, a sick, or some legal problem. I don't think anybody will rejoice for that. Our aim is to support each other. One may ask why. Well, when you block somebody and say they're not going to come on your show no more for a whole week and take all the assets away, what alternative does one have to just leave? And I think it was one of the things, because we talk about having the moral conscience to just come and say something about what happened. As I said, there are a lot of people that would be, people call me crying, saying, look, your man disgraced me too bad on that show today. And, you know, sometimes modesty and humanity can take you a long way. Always good to be humble. Anything you do in life, be humble. I think we all, I hear people saying, nobody knew you and Stanton Spoon made you. We all built Spoon. Nobody knew Spoon. We all went there. We all spend 3-4 countless hours every day when we leave our jobs. We come here and sit here for 3-4 hours and go up. Stanton found the Spoon, but we all worked together and made it the channel is today, the platform is today. So we all put in our time. We all work. We all brought in people. Ben, Tomalin, Keff. We all brought in people to help on that show. So nobody knew nobody until we built Spawn platform.
I knew you, Mr. Peabody.
Huh?
I knew you.
Yeah, I knew you then. We went to Maria College.
You mean wash the bathroom?
Yeah, he used to send me back to go fix my tie and all of that. You know. So, you know, I mean, I live in Atlanta, so I used to live in Atlanta. I went to school in Atlanta. A lot of people know me there. So, anyway, I'm not going to cut it. But the fact is, our leader got in a problem, a CEO, and we want to support him. One of the reasons we did not leave, because we leave right away, that could even cause more problems for him. He could shut down and things. So we stay and think that we could work on something to make this platform. But it didn't work out. I'm here whenever he needs me. I will still text him and tell him I'm praying for him, and we'll continue to pray for the best of him, for his family, and for everyone, you know, for all of us, so that we all can heal from what happened. We all have been shocked, going through some difficult times in our life. When we read those papers and when people send in those messages, sometimes I turn on my phone because I don't want to read anything. So we all have been faced with that trauma, even though we are not involved, don't know anything about it, but we still, by association, we have faced that trauma, you know. So we just thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
Thank you. Will you be part of the new platform that Mr. George spoke about?
Well, I will give it consideration.
Thank you. Tomalin, your closing comments, sir.
Mr. Ja and Mr. Sia, let me say thanks to Focus on Liberia for this opportunity to give us the space to talk our side of the story. Like we said, we have done our part. It's in the court of public opinion. Some people will not agree. Some people will disagree. Some people will still, even while they are here today, they will still have their own informed opinions about us. that's good. Like, you know, I mean, that's the right, have it. But I want to say something. I want to just recognize Robert Gagwa. I respect the young man. He spoke passionately, and I've watched him on the drive. I respect him. And besides him, there are lots of people, professional people, other people who have come to have reached out to us and talk to us. So most of the things you see, it depends on which side you find yourself. Some people hit it off on day one guy on spoon. Some for the fact that we're on that platform, some people just want to like us. In fact, they used to put stems on together and attack all of us. And then today we left. Yeah, they say one now today now John and they betray Stanton. They didn't want. I don't mind them. As I reading comments here from my family members, my friends, and they are applauding me. And these are people I really take that back. That if my family member was concerned and said, "Oh, Tomalin, this," I will understand. But not the regular people who talk right on Facebook. It's up their right. It's all right. You're gonna see they're gonna go and take it their own way and say what they want to say. It's up to them. Fine, that's good. But I know by my own conscience, I did nothing wrong, and I stand by my decision I took, and I will make it clear tonight. It's up to them. Now, also, another thing I want to say that look, we went to Liberia, right? We had a staff appreciation. We said that the staff in Liberia be doing a good job. Staff appreciation. People putting that video up. That video there, look, if the anniversary of that video was, I think, 2 days ago. Find a friend like me. I love that song. Find a friend like me because I will not fool you. I will not lie to you. I'll be honest with you. I'm not fake. If I see you going wrong, like I said earlier, when I got information, I want to stand there like a brother and talk to him. And he told me, say, look, don't even bring it on me no more. So that's how you can find a friend like me, right? Somebody who will tell you the fact will not come and join gossip and do stuff. So I really don't mind what they say right now. Like I said earlier, Mr. John, Mr. Sierra, and the viewers who took the time on the winners of today, I want to say thank you guys. And we have given our side of the story, and it's up to them. But one thing before I go, there are certain people who are high regards for, but they are showing the true colors in this thing. But it's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I'm glad that this thing happened so that we know who you are. I know them well, okay, and it's up to them. But I know going forward that like Bang say, when you're on the social media, turn off the button where you'll be reading comments, because you watch the comments, no problem. So I really don't care. And right now, I'm looking forward to going on a new platform where we will again have opportunity again to engage the Liberian people. So again, all those who took the time out in Liberia, it's after 2 a.m., 3 a.m. to watch us live. I want to say thank you for taking your time when you come out. Left, and those who in the USA and other parts of the world, thank you too. We say wish them the best. We continue to pray for him. And like since this thing happened, we have always been texting him, encouraging him, giving him moral and spiritual support. We say thank you. And lastly, there are people after this thing, whatever the outcome of that case, some of the very people tomorrow will have their own thing to say. Okay, so all we can say, God bless Mr. Waters and his family, and we pray that God will take control of whatever he's going through. And say thank you to our fellow Liberians.
Mr. Jai, Mr. Sia, I just want to end with my last quote. And I beg you, please give me this. And I've always said this. I said it on Spoon. And it's a quote, I think that by Martin Luther King, if I'm not mistaken. It says that in the end,
yes,
we will not remember the voices of our opponents or our perceived enemies. And I'm not saying it verbatim, but we will remember the silence of our friends, the ones we called friends. That quote guides me in everything that I do. Even with leaders that I know, people harass me all the time about, oh, Ben, you one day you would Joe, the next day you would Cummings, you would Boyka, you would. I know all these leaders. I take pride in the fact that I know them. But one thing that I always say, Mr. Jah, is that in the end, you would never say Ben never told me. You would say he told me, but I didn't listen. Thank you, guys. This was amazing. I want to thank you, Mr. Jai, Mr. Sia. This was amazing. And I just want to thank the guys for the strength. And like you said, we'll be on other platforms just so that we can go ahead and continue to clear the air.
Thank you. And one Nigerian politician, Moshood Abiola, said, if you don't want a sudden death, don't take your father's title. the fact that you are in this position, you are a celebrity, you are a talk show person, so you expect that. Mr. C, let's close.
Dennis, we want to say thanks to you, gentlemen, for coming and explaining yourself, your side of the story. We appreciate it, and I think the Liberian people needed to hear from you, whether or not they will agree with you or not. I think they will appreciate that you came and at least said something and explain yourself. I mean, it was necessary to do, and you recognize that, and you did it, and you're not stopping there. You're going to other platforms. That is necessary. Then they said it. You are celebrated now. You are. I mean, one of you said you are public figures now. So, and you have been grilling people. And in this media business, you reach out to people in government. Hey, I want to talk to you about it. When they say no, it's just frustrating. Hey, you are my servant. You're supposed to come and explain it, and you're running behind these people. And for you to not give us the run around and the Liberian people to run around, you come in to explain to them. I just want to recognize that as the right thing to do. But gentlemen, we look forward to see the new platform. But we are here. We are a platform already. But we want the competition to continue, because with the diversity, our people will get a lot from all of us, if not collectively, but individually. It will make our democracy better. Gentlemen, again, thank you. Dennis, thank you. To our many listeners, thank you. Keep watching Focus on Liberia. As we say, we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. And we do not close any of our broadcasts here without playing the song. No matter what, we are all Liberians.
What do you think? These guys are friends, are betrayers, or they are friends that you find? We are all Liberians.
You should play for a friend of me.
It is incumbent upon all of us to do whatever it takes to make Liberia the glorious land of liberty. Good night, gentlemen, and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.